you're a wizard who likes money and hates all the other things, then you should do this.
Yeah. Hello, America. I'm going to be the money president.
Hello, America.
We're going to talk about President Jimble and who else is there? Warren Buffett, Elon Musk. I actually had that ran this by the AI, and it gave me like a list of actual like IRL syndicate wizards. Yeah, today we're going to talk about Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Jamie Dimon, Rupert Murdoch, Reed Hastings, Oprah Winfrey, Tim Cook, Mark Zuckerberg, Sundar Pichai, Bill Gates, George Soros, Larry Fink, Christine Lagarde, Henry Kissinger, Xi Jinping, and the entire Rose Gallery today.
Yeah, we're talking about the Syndicate.
Yeah, the Syndicate, the literal 1% of the world of darkness.
Yes.
Now, let's begin to answer. Question of the day: do you like making money?
I'm quite a fan of it. I rather like it.
Now, how are you going
As fuckers, we all like making money.
Yes.
Now, how are you going to ensure that you make money forever?
You invest in things that make money, so that they always make money, and then suddenly
become
you
a
have infinite
vampire.
money.
Now, you see, I got this solution from you. It's called NFTs. I sell you an image that's worthless, and then you just hold on to it and do nothing with it.
That sounds
Sounds
like
like a
a
good
brilliant
deal,
idea.
Yeah, it's a good idea. See, on top of that, we're going to take this. I got a mystery liquor. Let's go ahead and let's open it. All right.
A mystery
Pop
what?
this open. Mystery booze. Let's see
Oh.
here. It is. What's this? This is in a variety pack. Wicked Grove Hard Cider, mixed berry.
That sounds good.
Let's take a look at this. What is the APV? 5% alcohol by volume, so, it's not very
it's a
strong.
beer, basically.
It is very sour. It's designed to get you to drink more of it. You see, that's what you want. You want a product that even after you finish it, you're gonna want another one. See, this is gonna be all the and it's gonna be having technical issues all night. Well, thankfully you're in stream mode, so we can't hear that.
Yep. I heard it the first time because some reason I got disabled, but we're good now.
All right, so let's get into. Hey, Storyteller, there you are. You did not miss much besides the intro.
Sorry
Hello.
about that.
Are you good?
Family dinner time kind of takes precedent over Mage, sadly, but I'm here to talk about wizards.
We're talking about money, baby.
Money? But what does that have to do with magic?
Well, it actually is magic because explain to me how micro and macroeconomics work.
Oh god, you're just hitting me with the big one, ain't you?
Yeah,
Okay.
just right off the bat, how is this supposed to work?
Okay. Regular economics, supply and demand. They want something, I got the thing, but I want something from them. Hypereconomics is basically that, but on a much larger scale, if I'm not mistaken. Hypereconomics is kind of those things that even I have trouble grasping because I'm not a fucking economist, okay?
I took like 2 economist courses in like the first year of college, and I forgot all that shit.
And this is something that I have like a genuine passion for, where
Yeah.
I don't want to go into finance, I don't want to be a banker, but I like reading about this. I like looking at stocks. I like looking at crypto. I like looking at finances and news. I like checking who's making how much and where is it happening. That's
You
something
like
I
to
find
see all
very
the graphs
interesting.
go up, but not when they go down.
Because
But you
when
don't want to know how that happens.
when it happens over there, it's going to affect me. Where, especially with me working a sales job and I have to pay attention to market trends.
Yeah, I feel
And-
that too.
Now, getting into it, where do we even begin with the magic of the Syndicate? This is a mage group where the magic is so mundane. Your Mage Ascension players are asking you, am I even casting magic anymore? Does this qualify as magic? Am I a wizard? Does this qualify as a spell? How do I accumulate paradox from this? And that's the magic with the Syndicate. You have made your magic so mundane that it no longer triggers paradox. You're casting spells and nobody notices, which is the thing that you want to get away with whenever you play Mage the Ascension.
Yeah,
You don't-
otherwise your head explodes.
Because nowadays, you look at how a purchase works. I give you a single piece of paper with a dead man's picture painted on it and it's green. You give me something that has tangible value. So what I gave you is something that realistically only serves the purpose of, say, toilet paper, and that's it. It can't even be used as a tissue because the wax around the bills. But
Blink.
it works because we say it works. I say this piece of paper has value, you give me something that actually does have value, and this is how the system works. And why is that piece of paper worth based on anymore? Nothing. It works because we say it works. And that's it. The
Basically,
gold,
yes.
nobody uses the gold standard anymore besides bricks. So that's something what you just posted, Ryan. I receive your goods, you receive nothing. It's the villain from Rush Hour 2. Imagine living in a world where people give you money and you give them absolutely nothing in return. And that's the whole explanation. And how am I making money off of stocks? How is this crypto working? How is my investment coming back? How am I speculating? How am I betting? Can you explain it? No, it all works off of belief, and that's the magic of the syndicate. We found a way to run society off of a game, a numbers game that we made up, and everyone went along with it. And that's where I'm going to ask you, is there actually magic IRL? Now, Kyle, Ryan, are you familiar with Patrick Moore?
Not really.
I have no idea who that is.
That's the man who made the Watchmen comics.
Oh.
And he says that magic is real, and that the way you cast it, if I say the word dog, what comes to your mind?
A dog?
Cat.
No. Now that's the thing.
Next to me.
With me speaking words at you, it gives you images, ideas, memories, and emotions based off the words I say. And if I combine these words in a certain sequence, I can give you an idea, or I can piss you off, or I can make you emotionally distressed, or I can make you fearful, based off of what I just said. Each and of itself, to Patrick Moore, writing, storytelling is a form of magic. So, do you consider that to be a spell, or is that just communication? But regardless, this is what the Syndicate sees as magic. It's something so mundane that you take it for granted, you no longer notice it's a spell, and that's what they want from you. This currency, that's how they're going to reach Ascension and control the world, if it's not for that pesky New World Order getting in their way. But I feel like we've talked enough about the Syndicate in concept and how this magic is supposed to work. Let's talk about the history.
Oh.
Where do these guys start?
Well,
Where in the world?
if I'm not
Carmen San
mistaken,
Diego.
Medieval times.
It,
the Roman Empire.
it is Rome. Just about like every fucking faction of World Darkness will say that it began in Rome.
Well, a lot of
Honestly,
shit
if you could
happened in
trace-
Rome. It was around for a long time.
I mean, if you can trace your whole faction back to Rome, then congratulations, you're legitimate. Welcome to the club, kid. We got jackets.
Unlike
Yeah.
those Indus River Valley civilizations, them Yellow River civilizations, all of those Polynesian islands, all the shit in the New World, that shit don't fucking exist, okay?
Is what it is.
It's basically like when superheroes can beat up the Hulk. By that point, you're a superhero by that point.
So these guys started in 715 BC with a group called the Brotherhood of Rule, who believed that I did a job for you, I gave you a service, I put up your house, I paved your road, I should be compensated for my hard work. And that sounds like a good idea, right? I do
Yeah.
something for you, I should get something for doing that. Kyle, do you agree with that idea?
That's a great idea. I like that idea.
Ryan, you like that idea?
Yes.
Edin?
Sure.
See, now, like the New World Order, these guys started off as good people, but you're going to see the apple rot very quickly.
Which is a trend that follows with the entire technocracy.
Yeah, you all had good intentions, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And this is what these guys were. They believe that hard work should be compensated. Is a man not entitled to a sweat on his brow? I did this work. I should receive something for doing that. And that's a fair thing to say. And so these people banded together, and it wasn't until 997 that they became an actual formal group called La Compagnia, where this is a trade union that formed under one Wolfgang von Reisman. A very fun name, and this is going to be a very important man. I think in the Mage Meta plot, he's still alive. He bought eternal life, essentially.
If they're trying to buy Ascension, why isn't Eternal Life not on the lower end of that list?
And he is looking and saying, I am sick to damn death of the lords and ladies not paying us for a good day's work. So I'm going to find as many businessmen as possible, and I'm going to band together. I'm going to say, we're not going to do this for you until you meet our demands. And this was a good idea at first, right? Where if I'm going to build your civilization, if I'm going to build your castle, I need to make sure you're going to ensure that I can eat tomorrow. I'm not going to do this for free. Wolfgang von Reisman genuinely believed that slavery was evil, that this was a terrible idea, and nobody should be a slave. Everybody should be compromised, compensated for their work. And along with that, you had another guy, one Stephen Trevane, the actual Robin Hood in the World of Darkness, who was sick to damn death of the lords and ladies hogging all the money. So he would come in, rob them, and then redistribute the wealth so the market could start moving as normal and healthy again. These two would eventually find out about each other in 1189 when the Council of Rouen, it's spelled Rouen, French, under one Bolden Langstraight, said, hey, we're outlying trade unions. You can't form these anymore. And Reisman and Trevane looked at each other and said, oh, like hell you can. So they banded together a militia, invaded his coterie, his cabal, and killed every traditionalist that enforced that rule. And these guys sound like heroes, right? Like renegade heroes, but still like, you sound like good people at first. You kill people but for a good cause. And then they would, upon that victory, redub themselves the Craft Masons, is what they would name themselves. And why they do after that, well, basically they just existed in their own bubble, just doing what they were doing. We need to make sure that everybody gets paid for a job well done, everybody is compensated, everybody is happy. That if somebody's holding on to the money, we need them to start sharing the money. We need to ensure that the market stays healthy. And it wasn't until 1325 when the New World Order and the rest of what would be known as the Order of Reason discovered them. The White Tower, the Ivory Tower, sent out a letter to von Reisman and Trevane and said, hey, we think we might have something for you. Trevane and Reisman went over, and they were formally indoctrinated into the Technocracy. They said, we are here, we've got these other guys with us, we're going to create a pro-human future that is just for humanity and only humanity. And Trevane and Reisman are looking over saying, well, how does that really include us? I mean, are we going to get compensated for our work? And they said, yes, we're going to do that. We're feudal in name only. We're going off a feudal system for the time being, but we're going to eventually find out something better. You'll be compensated for your work. And you should like this pro-human idea we have, because don't you believe that humans should be entitled to the work they do? Yeah. Do you guys know about vampires? Yeah. Do you know about like wraiths and all the changelings and fairies? Yes. Well, they're parasites in the market. They're not giving their money out to other people. Ryan, isn't it true that a vampire will just sit on his money forever and never spend it?
That's very true.
With the Ventrue, the Tremere, the Zimichi especially. And
I haven't seen a vampire not hoard their wealth.
And no, it's got Reisman and Trevane thinking, well, if we keep money in the hands of the humans, then that's going to be a benefit. So actually, now that you phrase it that way, New World Order, we actually do have something in common. And so they joined the Order of Reason as the Craft Masons still. But there was a small ideological divide happening between von Reisman and Trevane. They were noticing that under this system they had, this budding capitalist system, that some people that had it really good under the system suddenly became really lazy and ungrateful. And Trevane is looking at them saying, well, why don't you get off your ass and actually come down here and help us? He's a guy that believed that you shouldn't do any sort of laissez-faire or authoritarian. You shouldn't be the boss. You need to be a leader. You need to be down here with us and working. Well, von Reisman is saying, well, no, he already busted his ass. He got his paper, and he should enjoy the fruits of his labor. Every man is entitled to his own vine and fig tree. He got his fig tree. He gets to sit under it as much as he wants to. And you had this divide that happened between the two of them. Between those two, who would you side with? Out of that, Kyle, what do you think? Oh, Brian, what do you think?
The one that's right.
Yep, the one that's right.
So whichever one
fence sitter?
survives, then.
And well, Kyle, what about you when you stand with that?
I mean, like, I was cool with where we had before. It's like, I did the work, I got paid. I don't want anybody to hoard wealth. Then nobody's gonna have it.
Mm-hmm. Where I'm a guy where I'm pretty sure that I can retire. I've got a 401k going and everything, but I don't think I want to. I can't really picture myself not working. I honestly can't picture that.
I'd prefer not working. I'm gonna be perfectly honest.
Like, the reason why I want overtime with my job is, what am I going to do when I get home? I'm just going to go home, get on the computer, or do chores, or play a game, and then that's it. But, like, I can do this any day, really. I want to go out, and I want to do something that I'm going to feel satisfied for. If I go out for a job, and I do something where I feel like I made progress in a project, or I did something that's going to make a difference to somebody somewhere, then I feel good about myself. If I'm working a job that has no satisfaction, where it feels like every day I'm just doing the same thing, I'm not getting anywhere, I get frustrated with that job and I quit that job. That's what happens.
I mean, yeah, but also, like, then again, it all depends, because, like, I'm working this job right now, and I like the job that I got, but there's a reason that I'm, trying to publish a book and also playing on stage. It's because, like, eventually I'm on one of these things, and also doing the podcast, because eventually one of these things is going to be my job at some point. Probably not this, because, like, this isn't a for-profit thing, but like, something else is going to be my job that I actually care about more than anything. That's the goal, at least.
Because where I stand politically, like on that political compass deal, I would be referred to as a hyper-capitalist, where I believe, I honestly do share a lot of values with the Syndicate. Not the modern day Syndicate, but the Syndicate up until the 80s is where I stand personally politically, where I would rather listen to a corporation than I would a government. And I believe that money should be the one that makes right when it comes to a system. But this is my honest belief. And I tell you how many back and forths I have with our friend of the show, Fox Kitty, and how he's a communist, and how we frequently debate with each other and argue with each other over who's got the better idea.
And you also, then again, you also prefer that the country was run by God as well.
Yeah. Where I want God to run the moral center, and I want companies to run the culture and economics, and decide what the policy's going to be.
I don't, because I don't trust those motherfuckers either.
Yeah, where if we had like a board, like an ethics board and a regulatory board, then it works. But
but you can't trust those motherfuckers either.
We got a system that's designed for exploitation.
Reduce the power of the upper echelon of society, so that the rest of us can live in fucking peace.
Mm-hmm. You say that, but then you raise the level of executive, and then you're reaping these benefits.
Well, yeah, but then you have to pay it forward, so that way you look like less of an asshole.
Sorry, I am forever a corporate slave.
There it is.
Get a rise above, homie, like the Black Flag song.
You go to a corporate
Fuck that. Yep. If I rise above, I'm going to be getting shit from below and above.
Exactly.
And
you cannot win. Just enjoy it.
See, just go along with what you got in whatever circumstance you're in.
If you want more, get more.
Everyone's
going to hate you regardless.
For 300 years, the Syndicate just does stuff. They fund Marco Polo's exploration. They fund the Medici. They fund the artwork for the Renaissance. They pay for all these cathedrals. They pay for everything that the Technocracy does during this time to form human culture. And stuff like the printing press, they're paying for. Just name a project. The Syndicate, the Craft Masons paid for it. Is what happened.
Hey, I like this project. Here's $3 quadrillion. Get back to us and give us a 5% return on investment, or we're going to bankrupt you.
So after all, who controls the art world? The rich. I pay for this picture, and this is what's going to become the mainstream in the art world. And yeah, after all, what decides culture? Ultimately, market trends is what decides it. Where, look at what's the big music of the decade this year.
I have no idea.
Country music, that's what it is. And why is it country music? Because country music fans pay mucho dinero to see their people perform live and to buy these albums. That's why. So whoever's sending the most money to the next thing is going to decide what the songs of the decade are going to be. And this is how things go on until 1649, when Trevane seemingly snaps. Him and a bunch of farmers suddenly occupy the middle of England and say, we're done with this technocratic shit. I can't talk to Weissman anymore. He's been corrupted by the New World Order. He's this authoritarian now. I haven't forgotten who I am. I'm here to stand with the workers, and I'm not going to let you corrupt the good thing that we had going on here. We didn't need to join you. We were just as Conf Masons. Fuck you and fuck everybody you stand for. The New World Order looks at them and says, kill him. And so this 20-year civil war happens in England, ending in 1669 when Trevane is captured and slain. And these craft masons, as we know them, are disavowed and disbanded. Great. That's how the story would typically end, right?
Usually.
But no, You still have money. You still have all these resources. We're not going to forcibly seize them from you because, to be honest, governments are purview. We actually don't know what we're talking about when it comes to this. So I think it was, World War II when they say that they became the Syndicate, but this book says also when they reformed, they become the Syndicate. So it's like a bit of a lore snarl in the middle of this, but whatever. I'm just going to refer to them as the Syndicate from this point forward.
All right.
Because after all, it's an entirely different group now that Trevane is dead. And from this time, 1704, we're heading into the Industrial Revolution. My child can now go into the workforce and sweep a chimney, and he gets paid for it. Fantastic, right? We also got steam power, colonial expansion, mechanization of the workforce. We got the assembly line. We got all this, the pyramid scheme, all these different ways to make money. We're all doing very well. Von Reisman is doing great. He's about to retire any day now, and he's going to sit on his money forever, but occasionally fund our projects, and you get a return off of that. We'll call him executive producer is what we'll call him. And everything is going great. And there's the occasional labor strike and union, and sure, but we got ways we could bust that up, right? We got groups like the Pinkertons. We've got people we can pay to bust that up, and we'll get these guys going to work the next morning, right?
All right, easy.
So everything's well and good, and then World War I happens. That's the next big thing that happens in history. Where World War I happens, and this was a massive loss for everybody in the World of Darkness. Just everybody lost something in World War I. Of course, nobody lost more than the vampires, but the Syndicate's looking saying, well, shit, who's going to pay for all this? Germany. So, never see this crappy Geneva Convention. Germany gets taxed all this money, fined all this money, and they gotta try to work their way out of it. It's not until one man with a Charlie Chaplin mustache comes in, runs for power, and gets elected and starts looking like Germany's gonna make a bounce back, that the Syndicate looks over and says, oh, this guy's got Volkswagen, he's got all these highways, he's got all this industry, he's got rockets, he's got guns, he's got tanks. Well, we gotta pump as much money as possible into them. So the Syndicate gets their big bucket of money and pours it all over Germany. They look over at the Great Depression, they look at America, and they say, nothing's going to happen with that. So they just pour this money into Germany. And then what does Germany do? They invade Poland and start World War II.
And they're like, bro, what the fuck? We gave you all this money to build this new country, and you decide to make... What the fuck are you doing?
The Syndicate drops their money and says, we did pay you to do this. What are you doing with our money?
Well,
for real.
To be fair, you did not say not to do this with your money.
Yeah. This is entire like mini section about like the Jewish stereotype about being good with money. And the Syndicate says, well, there are Jews in the Syndicate, but they're not. Well, not everybody in the Syndicate is Jewish. The book just felt the need to tell you that for some reason.
What do they mean by that?
Oh yeah, why is this in the book? What are you trying to tell us, guys?
White Wolf legal.
I don't know. I sadly don't have the Jewish superpower of being, an omnipotent, money treasure goblin.
You see, what you do is that you just go up to him and say, "Shalom, man. May I have some money?" And he said, "I'd be delighted to give you some." And then this is how it works, right?
And then the Lions of Zion come and says, What are you doing? Stop wasting your money. Invest it smartly. You're going to give your aunt a heart attack.
Oh, I need my shekels so I can build a new theater district in the city.
So what does the Syndicate do around this time? They're looking at everyone else in the technocracy, and the New World Order especially is still going all in on Nazi Germany, thinking that this is an investment worth getting back on. So the Syndicate looks over and says, what are you guys doing? No, we're not going along with any of this. So they pull all of their funding out of Germany. This extends to Japan and Italy as well. They instead go over to America and said, okay, we'll eat crow. We were wrong about America. We're going to pour all of our money into them. And they go behind the New World Order's back, pours this massive amount of money into America, fund what would be the Manhattan Project, and then boom, you now have a country with nukes.
Yep.
Thanks to their money, right?
And the world's greatest navy and controlling 96% of the wealth in the world.
And then
Wizards help too. Physical plane.
And before the NWO can respond, the Syndicate launches this massive anti-communist propaganda campaign, saying that communism is this evil idea, it's a stupid idea, you don't want to be a socialist, you don't want to be a communist, you want to be a capitalist, you want to take your life into your own hands in this system. And the American public says, yeah, it sounds right, and they force the Cold War into existence before the New World Order can make a decision that they don't agree with.
Kind of based Syndicate. I never thought I'd say that. Good job, Syndicate. You picked the right choice.
And around this time, I keep forgetting the guy like Citizen Kane was made about.
Kane. No, not Orson Welles. Oh God, what was his name?
William Randolph Hearst.
Yep.
And they look at guys like that and they say, we're going to give this man a big stack of money. Here, you decide what the movies are going to be made. We're going to give money to all these currency speculators. We're going to invest more money into television. We saw what Goebbels was doing. That actually was a good idea. We're actually going to do that, but American. And behold, you get this American TV. We're going to show videos of people, shows where people are smoking on camera. We're going to create Leave It to Beaver. We're going to create the Flintstones. We're going to create this entire system of good, wholesome American family values, which are definitely not values that we're implanting into their minds because those values benefit us, and definitely don't play into any sort of conflict of interest here. This is just good old American 1950s and 60s values, right?
With some slapstick humor thrown in as well.
And this would continue all the way into the 70s and 80s, where we're right after the Enlightenment period, where America becomes the richest country in the world. The Soviet Union is scrambling to compete with them. They're not doing as well as in the Cold War as they think they're doing. And America gets Europe on their side. They've got industry going on with the United Fruit Company in South America. We've got all these exports and imports coming out. We rebuilt Japan. Germany is being built back with American money. Everything's being done with American money. And the U.S. dollar is the most valuable currency in the world. And we're going to intentionally destroy the pound, which was more valuable, but now it's not. And everything's going well. And you begin to notice that the numbers game begins to corrupt the Syndicate around this time. Because it's the absolute power that corrupts absolutely. The Syndicate begins to think to themselves, we're stronger than the New World Order. We don't really need these guys to tell us what to do. We're going around and we have the media. We control the media. We control market trends. We control all of this. And we don't really need these guys. And the New World Order looks over and says, well, hell you do. And so what is the biggest thing that gets in the way of a capitalist? Government regulation.
Yep.
Exactly what it is. So around the 1970s and 80s, you have both these groups playing hardball with each other. The way I described the relationship between the Syndicate and NWO, you're all familiar with Transformers, right? Yes. Megatron and Starscream?
Yes, of course we're familiar with the enemies of Cybertron.
Where the Megatron would be the NWO in the situation, where he's convinced that he's doing the right thing for him and his people, even though he's this flaming fascist authoritarian that's just doing everything he can to screw over everybody that he thinks he's fighting for. But meanwhile, Starscream is the Syndicate, where they swear absolute loyalty to the New World Order while doing everything in their power to screw them over from behind the scenes and get away with it. Because What is the idea? What is the idea of mass ascension for the Syndicate? Would you like to guess?
I say, wake up, you need to make money!
Money!
What the New World Order, what the Syndicate believes is mass ascension is going to a cashless currency. A currency where there's no cash.
That's dumb
What do
as
you
shit.
think about that? Now,
Okay, well,
here's something that I got cross about with Mage the Podcast, because they're really underselling this idea. All right. So Kyle, cash, right? Who's responsible for printing it?
The government, usually.
The government, yes. Now, you look over and what is your alternate form of payment when it comes to making a transaction?
I mean, you have your credit card and debit card, but that's still
And the credit card and debit card are issued by a company, right?
yes, by your bank.
And then it's Visa and MasterCard and all these other companies that can freeze your card, control your money, where it's going, take it out of your retirement or mortgage and give it to someone else, right?
Yeah, basically.
They want a currency that is not dependent on the U.S. government whatsoever. Because the U.S. government wants to decide how much money they're going to print out, what they're going to control for you, how much your money's worth. And at any point, some guy in the White House can decide we're going to print 50% of all of our bills in circulation in 2021, resulting in your U.S. dollar counting for jack shit anymore. And this just keeps happening because the government wants to come in, make this decision that ends up fucking over the capitalist, and then behold, you're working from square one all over again, where you have to build your way back up. Because after all, how did our most recent recession happen?
The government was like, hey, banks, you're not allowed to fail, so we're just going to throw $1 trillion at you so you don't fail, which is actually fascism when you think about it.
Yeah, followed by a government response to a global pandemic, right? The keyword here being government.
Yes.
And along with that, they're looking at stuff like Bitcoin and Ethereum, where it's a currency that is built off of literally nothing but trust that they can mine whenever they want to after using all their different processing systems, build up this currency, and then use that with no government intervention whatsoever. So if you notice this, where's this logical conclusion going to head to? Ryan, when was the last time you played a video game that did not have its own currency system inside?
Never.
That's what you got now, where that's the end goal of the Syndicate, where every individual company or every individual product has its own currency system based in of itself, where you need to convert other currencies to each other in order to pay for an individual product, to the point where the product, the market, and the people producing the product control not just the world's economy, but the world altogether, where a company can decide, I want to do what I want, when I want, however I want, and nobody can stop me. That's the idea of mass ascension amongst the Syndicate.
So you become an authoritarian corporate oligarchy.
Yeah, I pay you with an NFT that I cut a piece off of, and I drop it into your digiscanner, and then that's how I pay for my groceries.
That's a terrible and wildly inefficient idea, and it's not going to work.
Especially because, given crypto, have you ever been to a convenience store that's accepted crypto?
No.
And what?
Do those even exist?
What drives me fucking crazy, Storyteller, is that I go into so many convenience stores that have a Bitcoin ATM inside of them. And Bitcoin is just built off of astroturfing, where they want to pretend that they're this massive thing where, oh yeah, our currency is worth $140,000. Go ahead and invest in us. When really all you can do with this is just Ponzi scheme or pyramid scheme it off to somebody in order to buy LSD or Oxycontin from a guy on the dark web. But it's in these stores in order to look big, but a convenience store is going to take it because, like, for example, with my job, I was in a store that had one of these. When I went into that store, the price of Bitcoin was $106,000. When I left that store 20 minutes later, the value of Bitcoin was $105,000. So who's to say that if I'm making a transaction with Bitcoin, the value of my money changes as my payment is being processed?
again, wildly inefficient.
What
Yes.
stores are you going to? I have never
No,
seen these before in my life.
This is like in a 7-Eleven.
Oh,
By the way, we also have like a chain like up near what was that like Statesville and Salisbury called Times Oil, where those are in those gas stations. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking like nobody's gonna fucking use this, but why the fuck is the crypto in here to begin with? No, the syndicate wants to get to a point where you can do that. Your currency changes based off of their decision, and then you just deal with it. So yes, essentially what the New World Order is doing, but you notice that both the New World Order and the Syndicate can't be right at the same time. Because the Syndicate's idea of mass ascension directly involves screwing over the New World Order. One hand is not going to wash the other. Just as there's a cold civil war between Iteration X and the Progenitors, there's one between the NWO and the Syndicate. To the point where I want to see a mass ascension scenario where there is a civil war between within the Technocracy, where the Syndicate and the NWO pick either Iteration X or the Progenitors to be on their team, and then those two, they will have like a 2v2 civil war in the Technocracy. And then the Void Engineers are just off by themselves because that's what they always do.
yeah. Void Engineers don't give a shit. They want to be in space.
Yep.
So,
the Void
They got
Engineers
their
would
own
be like
business.
coming back to Earth after what's that one movie where it's like the guy shows up with a pizza and then there's somebody dead. There's like there's
Community,
something on.
yeah.
What was it?
Oh, that's Community.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that scene from Community. The Void Engineers coming back with the pizza and everybody else is just fucking dead.
All the while the mages are out there is like, what they doing over there?
You did the Ascendant Weaver scenario without me? What?
Basically,
So between these two, who would you side with first, the NWO or the Syndicate?
Syndicate.
If you had to pick one. The Syndicate, yeah.
Syndicate.
Yeah, immediately Syndicate. Ryan, what about you?
Syndicate.
Yep. So yeah, it is the lesser of the two evils, but you still acknowledge that
It's
it is
still
an evil.
It's still like the end goal is still a corporate oligarchy. You're still going to wind up with Cyberpunk 2077 with like 5 shell companies all ran by one company, and all the products are the same, and they control all of your money. And if you say something that company doesn't like, they can censor you just like a government can.
Well, when it comes to between the two, I'd rather work for Arasaka than I would Militech. Because at least with Arasaka, the corporate oligarch, I can work my way and eventually get into the higher positions if I really make a push for it and really put myself to it. With the NWO, I have to go through the indoctrination, I have to get the degrees, I have to go through the humiliation, I have to go through the espionage training, I have to go through all of this, and I can just get cut off at any time. At least I get a strike system and a write-up system with the oligarchy.
It's the 6 inches with lube or the 12 inches no lube.
Basically, yes.
True.
And now in the first edition book of the Syndicate, they were entirely pro Pentex. They said, yeah, Pentex is our best customer. We give them all this stuff. We got all this money. And these idiots just keep giving us this money. And they just throw money at us. It's great working with Pentex. And then this book comes out. This is the 20th anniversary edition I'm reading off of. And they say, why do we keep giving money to Pentex? We're never going to get this shit back. We give them resources, we give them money, and then we never get a return on it. They constantly go under, companies constantly die, and then they use magic that is like clearly paradox, just form a company out of nothing, and then start the whole thing all over again. And the NWO and Progenitors and Iteration X just go along with it. Why? Why are we giving money to these parasites that are not going to contribute to anything? We're not going to get a return on our Pentex investment. So they just refuse to help Pentex anymore in 20th edition.
Base Syndicate. Good job.
And then Enron, which is, of course, Enron. They bring up Enron by name in this company, but it's Enron and World Darkness. They cheer for that company's death. They say, yeah, those fraudsters, they had a death that was coming, and we have no sympathy for them. But they do say, with the 2008 recession, that, of course, we know how that happened, is that banks figured out, hey, we could combine mortgages with bonds, but at the same time, we got speculators taking money out of those mortgages while they're being paid off. And then with this housing market that we're investing all this money into, we just have a bunch of speculators buying homes, and no middle-class families are actually buying the homes. And then that results in in order to make good on their investments. Everybody dumps stock, resulting in economic collapse, and then we just have to dig our way out of it. And then we got like 4 years where nobody's making any money or making a decent pay. But it's not as bad as the recession we're going in right now.
Yeah.
I prefer the 2008 over this.
Yeah, I'd rather live in 2008.
I mean, back
when when This Is Sparta was the biggest thing in the world.
Yeah, I remember I went and I watched the scene from Meet the Spartans earlier today.
But back when what was it, like Scary Movie was the next movie coming out.
Yep. Good times.
And the Black Eyed Peas were the biggest band in America.
Again, you know what? Even though nobody could afford a house, at least we were having fun.
Mm-hmm. Nowadays, who the fuck can afford living alone?
Yeah. Right.
I mean, I can. I got a roommate. He's at the house right now, but I got one.
Ryan is Ethan Ralph maxing. He's living in a man's garage.
Whoa.
For $400.
Come on, don't slander my good man's name like that. Do not.
He's showering with Aquafina bottles and peeing in Coke bottles.
It's the basement.
God bless you, Ryan.
See, Ralph knows how to live. He knows how to maximize your money. Just that all you need to spend is $400, and that's it.
Hoba maxing. Man,
that's what you gotta do.
Johnny, you're not the only bonar out here.
I'm not.
And look at me, all glass walkered up. My fucking random interrupt bullshit.
And given that this book was written in 2013, what's the new hustle with the Syndicate? Social media. That's how we'll make money.
Oh, bro, it fucking worked. Let me tell you.
We'll pay a man on TikTok $300 a month to advertise stuff for us, even though we're brutally underpaying him. He brings all this money and revenue our way for songs, clothes, Stanley Cups, and now look at all the money that's look at all the revenue that's just rolling in.
It's like that. What movie is it where it's like Bill Burr and like this big dude? It's all standing there. There's just like a pallet of money, and he's like, "I gotta do it," and he just lays down on the pallet of money.
See, I'm pulling this up right now. I know what you're talking about. God, what's this movie from? Know Your Meme, please help me.
Oh yeah, here it is.
See, it's a scene from Breaking Bad.
No, it wasn't Breaking Bad. It was.
No,
it's this one here that's in the fucking.
Uh,
Who is that? Is that Lavelle Crawford?
It might be, yeah.
I don't know if it is or not. I don't think it's the.
Know Your Memes. This is from Breaking Bad.
Well, no. There is the Breaking Bad where it's like Walt and his wife just looking at a pallet of money, but the one where like the guy lays down on the pallet of money.
It's like we know what we're talking about, but we don't know where it's from. Yeah.
Somebody in the comments will tell me.
Yes, and there we go. So yes, this is your average Syndicate moment. As you just look at all the revenue that they're rolling in. This is the faction that on character creation, you can have 6 or 7 points in resources with these guys.
They have all the money.
Honestly.
Yeah. So infinite money.
Rich Bastard's Guide to Magic. You can go to 10.
You will never have to worry about running out of money during your chronicle with that much. Where for example, we had in our Hunter Reckoning game, Danson's character had 5 points in resources. And with that, every gun in the game was purchased, where we didn't have to worry about anything. Any owned multiple properties for our hunters to hide in when they got burned in a certain town. Imagine what you could do with 6 or 7. Anything you want to do, just throw money at it. It's solved.
It just goes to 6 and goes literally more money than God, and it's just ... for 7, ... for 8, and ... for 9. At 10, it's just like you just win.
Yep.
You
just ascend as a Syndicate member as if your reach resource is 10.
You're going
Your eyes just turn to dollar signs, they glow, you levitate from the ground, and you just reach a new whole plane of existence.
They're like that paper ninja from Naruto Shippuden. They're just made out of paper, except instead of paper, it's money.
Sai was his name? No. It was one of the black.
See Naruto paper.
One of the Akatsuki.
God, it's been forever since I've watched that show.
Conan, that's it.
Yeah.
Conan the Barbarian, what are you doing in Naruto?
Yes. And with this, now you might be thinking, why doesn't the Syndicate just cast spells that just makes money just fall into our laps, or just produces money endlessly? Well, it's not necessarily about having money, it's the market. You want the market to be your fuel for magic. Because after all, if you just have money pop out of nowhere, it's going to cause paradox, and it's going to cause an economic crash. Oh, sorry. These aren't spells. These are acquisitions. These are purchases. These are market corrections, is what you're doing, instead of casting spells and magic.
Very
Once again,
reason
with
eggs
their
cost
language.
so damn much these days is because the Syndicate cast this spell too many times.
Yeah, you're really demystifying the magic here.
I mean, that's the whole thing, is like they're still in the whole reality deviancy bullshit that the rest of the fucking the rest of the conventions are on. So
I know you hate Toho, Kyle, but one of my favorite villains in that series is Chimata, where she's this goddess over the market. And the whole plot of her game starts because she says, I have a product, I want to sell that product, so I'm going to sell that product. And then she opens this black market, this market, where people can just buy magic cards off of her. And then that causes all this chaos, because it's like America if we had no gun regulations. And everybody just went around with a big weapon. And you go up to her and you say, why are you trying to stop me? Why are you fighting me? I'm just selling a product, is what I'm doing. Why are you trying to stop me for doing that?
That's basically my life. I live in Texas.
And that's the plot of the game, is essentially, I want to make money, and it caused stuff to happen.
I mean, yeah, usually things happen when you're making money.
Mm-hmm. And with the spells too, we'll get into spells at the end of the video, but you'll begin to realize just how mundane and disenchanted the magic of the Syndicate really is.
Again, they are not reality deviants.
All right. Let's go into relationships. I sent you the screenshots on relationships.
Yes, you did. So,
all right, we begin with Iteration X.
Most of the Syndicate only really talk about, other extraordinary citizens and how useful they are and how profitable their motives are. Now, for extraordinary citizens in general, they really couldn't predict it, but it's been great for them how many people are extraordinary now. Notice they don't say enlightened or awakened; they say extraordinary, which I kind of like the vernacular there.
Who is an extraordinary citizen today? Would you like to guess?
Me.
Lostwalkers.
Yes, definitely.
Toby Fox.
What?
Toby Fox, the guy who made Undertale.
Is he?
Really?
Yeah. Where you just come up with a product, it sells a shitload of money out of nowhere. Same thing with Chad Moldenhauer and Jared Moldenhauer, the guys who made Cuphead.
Yep.
Oh.
Where you can become an enlightened citizen, a sorcerer syndicate, by making a product, and then it sells like crazy.
Hey,
so
everybody.
I got one thing wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not a citizen. I'm just extraordinary.
Yeah.
You're just extraordinary. You're legally
Anti-citizen one. Fellas, do me a solid when my book comes out. Buy it so I can be extraordinary.
Extraordinary.
Please, I beg of you.
Hey, you send me that link and I'll buy it.
Thank you very kindly.
We're going to pull an L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah, we are. I'm gonna start a religion based around my novels. It's gonna be sick.
You won't get taxed for doing so.
You should send me one signed.
I have a lot of people that are asking me to do so.
It's
I bet.
Bish.
Yep. Anyway,
Johnny, can you hit me with those reference sheets, please? I don't seem to have those.
We're looking at second edition, but
yep.
Okay. Here, I'll get him on that. Right. Kyle, continue with the bit.
Yes. So
let me go buy that right quick.
Yep. With the conventions. So to start from the top, Iteration X. They really love Iteration X, but it's a really, really tough relationship between them. They've been the vanguard of economical technical progress, but, since they've lost, since recently after the anomaly, which I believe is what they refer to as the Week of Nightmares.
Yes.
Most Iteration X have gone completely unhinged. There are some individuals within Iteration X who they can still rely on to do a good job, but the leadership just seems distracted by otherworldly things. The Lucid ones continue to be incredibly useful. They provide security for every financial institution, And just overall, they're useful when they're not going insane. They're great to work with. And, they build a lot of cool tech, but both for them and for stuff to sell to the masses, all the unenlightened. They love them, but they just wish that they would focus, God damn it.
You are intentionally ripping out your organs and replacing them with synthetic ones. That's not normal. That's not healthy, Iteration X.
Yeah. They're very, very close to reality deviancy there, and it worries the Syndicate.
They're slowly stopping being cyberpunk, and they're becoming Adeptus Mechanicus. Go ahead, put that artillery shell in my back. Let's see what happens.
Disgusted me.
From the moment I learned the weakness of my flesh, it disgusted me.
I love when it was Spotto Oz doing that as Ozzy Nefardo.
The moment that I realized the weakness of my flesh.
That's exactly what it is. They're
I
all
want to
fucking
cut this car battery into the ocean.
The moment I learned the weakness of my flesh, it disgusted me.
I forgot you had that.
I completely forgot that story had that. What the hell? Holy shit. Okay, moving on. Next, the New World Order. So the New World Order seem to think that they're all the same side, and the Syndicate is, realized that once upon a time that might have been the case. The New World Order focused on the government and academia. We focused on making money. That's what we do, and that's what it was supposed to be. But that was better when higher education was restricted to the same privileged class that held political power, so it made sense to be one in one convention. But the growing separation between academia and the state, thanks to democracy, the New World Order is long overdue for a restructuring. There's nothing new about the New World Order. But instead of, accepting that the Syndicate and the New World Order need to break up, they're just grabbing up more and more power, becoming incredibly authoritarian and really trying to just put the squeeze on the Syndicate, And because the New World Order in the rapidly changing world are worried about what they can't control. And the Syndicate want to hold on to the power that they've collected thus far. But as the NWO continues to encroach on their territory, they are really concerned about a civil war. They're not at that point, but they also know they can't afford to have one. And the NWO is seriously fucking things up with their whole shepherd to the masses bullshit. Their whole draconian worldview is starting to ruin everything that the Syndicate has done to keep the consensus stable. And so there's been just all kinds of ideological proxy wars going on between them with DRM, surveillance, anti-net neutrality bills, all of that, all the tools that they can buy, they use, just like when the old guard warred between communism and capitalism. The one thing, I like this one excerpt in the book because you could tell there's just like a lot of spite held on by the Syndicate for this one. At one point, the one point they have is that we did fuck up on the hyper-economic experiment, but they've conveniently forgotten that they pushed us into doing that in the first place, and they aren't without major fuck-ups in the last decade.
They look at the 2008 financial crisis, and they said, and the NWO is looking at them saying, this is all your fault, right? And then exasperated, the Syndicate turns to them and says, you told us to do that.
Yes.
You told us to take money out of people's mortgages and pull money out of the banks for this housing shit that you told us to do.
The whole purpose we built that whole institution called the bank is so that the money would stay there and make money?
Because they're looking at them. They hate the New World Order, too.
They're just I love whoever's narrating this book because you can tell he's just so done with their shit.
And you look at this, too, where we had that whole argument, would we rather be controlled by a corporation or by a government? I'd rather put my head in the ring with the corporation, even though I know what I'm signing in for. This is a deal I'm not going to think twice about.
But here's the thing, and we'll get to why I actually do like this faction, even though it is a villain faction. I do like it because it's a lot more malleable than the New World Order because corporations do need to adapt to changing market trends. And if you do work your way up in the Syndicate, like maybe you can bring a more liberal attitude towards some of the ideas of the business and make it better for everybody. You know,
like you can negotiate with the syndicate.
Yeah, you're like, hey, fellas, you do realize that your whole policy of like, closing people's bank accounts whenever they say anti-syndicate rhetoric is also hurting our customer base, right? Maybe we ought to implement some sort of system in order to like stop that from happening so we can keep the consumer buyer power and also not look like we're an authoritarian nightmare. And like, you know what? Yeah, that is hurting our profit margin. Like, here, do it as a small trial period in this particular market, and do just like an accident forgiveness program. That's what we're gonna call it. You market it to them because they're all about that shit, and then the whole thing solves itself. The free market at work. Let's go. That's what we like to see.
If you're looking at something that would be an NWO versus Syndicate thing today, that TikTok ban,
yes,
where you would have the Syndicate freaking the fuck out about this, like saying, you're banning what in America?
One of the most profitable social media sites we ever put up.
Do you know how much money that's gonna put us out of?
I can't help it. I actually unironically like the Syndicate now. This is just hilarious.
They were ready to get up and strangle the NWO for doing that.
I know fucking Thor Asgard was about to like walk in with a rifle, just like Mr. Boss at the end of Frowning Friends.
So it is, you know these guys are evil, but at the same time, they benefit you ever so slightly.
Yeah, I can't help but like the Syndicate. I don't know why.
Yeah, they're a bad apple that's spoiling a big bunch because of their cutthroat culture. But you know what? Maybe they were brought to that point by the NWO. Maybe it was them.
Maybe if we got rid of the NWO, then they wouldn't have to be as big of assholes,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
I don't know about that.
Hey, you won't know till you try, but like I said, like when there's less to suffer from, people can sort of loosen up a little bit. So moving on from that, we have the Progenitors. They're beloved and profitable, but the main difference between Progenitors and Iteration X, while Iteration X is going insane, the Progenitors are just stable. And that's critical since their anti-aging technology is part of their complex executive incentive program. And, they make all that humanity relies on to get well, become stronger, and even, have more fun. And they make the Union fucking rich. It's awesome. They got health insurance and biotech and big ag and cosmetics and illicit drugs like cocaine and shrooms and all the other cool shit and all kinds of other stuff. And you know what? And the funds that come in from those, keep the Marauders and the Nefandi at bay, and also give the Void Engineers their crazy, rocket fuel or whatever they need, and also help fund the Progenitors' applied science charities. They're so nice, but the younger Progenitors are starting to get on our bad side a little bit. They're a bunch of fucking trust fund protesters that don't actually realize what the fuck they're doing.
Relatable.
And, they're shouting about like inequality of the human condition and all this other bullshit. They don't realize that they're hurting the bottom line by doing so. But,
Yeah, Edin here loves the Progenitors. They're his favorite part of Technocracy.
We haven't gone over there. I'm sure I'll find a way to hate the shit out of them, but
But at the same time, these are the same people that are giving their stuff to Magadon, and then Magadon twists it in a way that gives you cancer.
Yeah, basically.
But then look at it from a financial perspective. How much money is there in Big Food and Big Pharma?
Oh, fucking gajillions of dollars.
Everyone gets sick.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Ryan, you see just how much the U.S. government, not the U.S. government, U.S. corporations are flipping shit over RFK Jr. Where
we got the tumbling brain parasites.
I'm gonna be honest with you. You asked the wrong person.
Well, they were flipping out about this guy because what's in your fucking food, your food dye, red 40, blue 1, yellow 5 and 6, that's petroleum runoff. When you synthesize coal into gasoline, that's the runoff you get from that. That was supposed to be put in clothes for clothing dye. They put it in your fucking mac and cheese, Campbell's soup, it's cereal and candy. And they just expect you to deal with it.
I love that.
Hey, kid, you want some oil?
Petroleum-based Fruit Loops. Buy them now, kids.
That's exactly what it is. Well, every other country uses vegetable oil. America uses fucking coal for their soup and mac and cheese. And
me full of microplastics.
It's exactly what's going on. And the progenitors would know about this, look at the Syndicate, and say, maybe you shouldn't do that. But the Syndicate says, well, can't you just sell them like a big stack of pills and other stuff to help offset that? You're right. And then they do it.
Yeah. So in short, it's like they do great work. The younger ones are annoying, but, just keep an eye on them. They're doing okay.
In this hypothetical civil war, I'm seeing the Syndicate pair up with the progenitors, and then Iteration X pairs up with the NWO.
Well, yeah, because Iteration X are going insane. And so NWO is like a senile old man sitting in the corner. Like, I know I keep making a lot of references in this episode, but like in the first episode of Chernobyl, where that really old partyman is, giving you all the wrong things to do after a major nuclear accident, it's like,
cut off the city, control the spread of misinformation. We will be rewarded for what we do here.
That's the New World Order.
Except that you're just leading all these people into their deaths.
Exactly.
That's what you're doing.
Yes. It's like follow the leader, and the hopscotch is on the edge of the cliff. But then we've got the Void Engineers. Again, I fucking love this narrator. To call the Void Engineers, quote, the least profitable among us, end quote, is frankly an insult to unprofitable institutions everywhere. They occasionally deliver on, something that surprises everybody and validates their funding for years, like Velcro, but they're the union's biggest money sink. They keep using the dimensional anomaly as an excuse to have requisitions filled, have more ships to place the damaged and destroyed ones, in the name of fixing the problem so we can't get back to the horizon, and submitting requests for weapons and military training, or something to counter, threaten all, whatever the fuck that is. I don't know what that is yet, but I'm sure I'm going to be terrified when I find out.
It's the Borg from Star Trek.
Oh yeah,
don't worry about it.
Fuck that.
Yeah, and it was created using Iteration X technology that merged with the Week of Nightmares Maelstrom.
Oh no!
So Iteration X destroyed the world.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Good job, Iteration X.
In the defense of the Void Engineers, do you know how valuable asteroid mining is?
Yeah, but they haven't given us any fucking minerals yet now, have they? Because
Yeah,
that would break
Right,
the
you
fuck.
just gotta give them time, and then you'll have literally billions or trillions of dollars flowing in from asteroid mining.
It's going to be a
Just
hard
gotta
sell to the
choose that
public, though.
one asteroid.
Yeah, Syndicate First Edition says we keep giving the Void Engineers money, and then the money seemingly disappears. We have no idea where it's going. For some reason, we're not allowed to see the investment returns on yearly, quarterly reports on the Void Engineers. The NWO keeps saying we have to give them money, and we keep wondering why. So, why do we just keep giving this faction that seemingly never turns a profit money with money that just leaves the market?
Yep.
And if they had their way, they would sit the Void Engineers down and say, okay, if we're going to keep supporting you, you need to bring us an asteroid from space today. You need to bring us the moon rocks today. You need to provide us something to convince us to give us a reason to keep giving you money.
Or you have a Void Engineer go, like, okay, threaten all. What is it? Remember the Borg? It's out there, and it's going to kill us all unless we do something about it. Give us money.
And then the Syndicate forms Space Force. And now we have a new war economy.
Okay, they're going to get devoured by it immediately, and that's going to cause more problems. But you going ahead if it makes you happy.
And Space Marines will be real.
Yes. Anyway, so basically, yeah, they just keep funding with it, and they want to cut the funding to the Void Engineers so bad, but at the same time, if they go too far with that, they alienate one of the most advanced, enlightened military forces on and off the planet. They really want to, fund them, but they also want to keep them on a leash, but they also don't want to lose them. They're really split on the Void Engineers.
Mm-hmm. Given how ridiculously enigmatic and hard to follow down.
Yeah. What would happen if the Void Engineers got booted out the Technocratic? I doubt the NWO would let that happen, but...
Well, Storyteller, what do you think would happen?
Wizards like the Sons of Ether and the Virtual Adepts did.
That's fair. That's fair. I gotta hang on.
If they get booted out, they'll join the Glasswalkers.
What?
Guaranteed.
They joined the Red Talons. They send the humans to space.
Nah, they joined the Umbro pilots from the Glasswalkers.
See,
I gotta say, there's one engineer that is based.
Who would that be?
Risk-Rain 2 engineer.
There it is.
Oh, I thought you were going to say TF2 engineer, but I don't. I've only played Risky Rain a couple of times. I'm not very good at it.
He's an engineer main. I'm a mercenary main.
That's fair.
I'm a multi-main with double nail gun.
Oh wait, so hold up, Johnny. Do you do like a nightly game night with Ryan?
I don't have it on my PC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought like me and Ryan play Civ 6 every Monday, and like every Tuesday you and him.
For some stupid reason, that game isn't crossplay.
Next.
On Mac and PC.
And I'm not even sure if it is Mac and PC, but no, I have it on my PS4.
It should be crossplay. I don't know. Anyway,
it isn't for some stupid fucking reason.
It just probably haven't got to
it. Be Civ 7.
I mean, that depends on how fucked it is. I'm gonna be very patient about that one. I'm sorry to say. Anyway, moving on from that, we have the traditions. General note on them: they're fantastic. We love them. They're an endless supply of great product ideas. They're super trivial to undermine. All you got to do is just sell their culture to a bunch of fucking hipsters, and then you make $1 billion off of it. How do you not love that shit? Oh, God, I love gentrifying the traditions. It's great. Okay.
Well, after all, how much money did Harry Potter make?
Quite a lot.
And now you got all these stooges that are looking at our Hermetics magic, making a complete mockery of it, and then they just roll in all this money.
Ah, boy, I love it. Anyway, so starting from the top, Akashic Brotherhood. Martial arts are sexy. We like that. Hong Kong entertainment offices are just masters at selling it. You know, fighting and stunts. Kids go to karate school to learn how to be awesome and shit. I mean, it's not perfect. There are arts that we can't completely co-opt because they aren't all that showy. Like, we can't break into Aikido for some reason, but, you know, we got mixed martial arts and people eat that shit up all the time. It's great.
No. Now, Kyle.
Yes.
How lucrative is Dragon Ball Z?
I think the entirety of the Mexican cartel is funded off of Dragon Ball Z. Or is it the other way around? Probably the other way around.
See, this is $1 billion IP in of itself. It's like, was it the entire franchise is valued to be $23 billion American in value.
Yeah. I mean, I've never watched a single episode of Dragon Ball Z, so I wouldn't know.
But it's this global phenomenon. And yeah, the Akashic Brotherhood, they're doing the same thing. Iteration X says, hey, Akira Toriyama, here's a big stack of money, make Dragon Ball for us.
And he was like, okay. And he did, and it was great.
I was going to do that anyway, but okay.
Yeah.
And then you had other stuff like Fist of the North Star, Jujutsu Kaisen, Bleach, I guess, would also work. See, Ryan,
anyway.
You love Bleach. I don't know anybody who loves Bleach more than Ryan.
I have not seen the latest of Bleach. What was it? The 1,000-Year Blood War or whatever, but I've finished Bleach.
He sat through all the filler, and he loved it.
I think the last time I have ever seen Bleach was in 6th grade at like a friend's birthday party. That was
and you looked and you watched that show, and you said, "I have no fucking idea what's going on."
I really did not. Then again, it was like
to the guy who watched
good
all of One Piece in like 3 months.
Yeah.
Christ.
It's not that.
Damn.
It's not that difficult.
I mean, I don't know how people have time to watch like an entire thing of anything anymore. But
you read the shit.
I can't read.
Yes.
Which is a mistake.
Audiobooks. I stand around for 8 hours every day. That's my job.
That's fair.
I spent 12 hours today reading Mistborn.
Miss what?
Mistborn.
What's
by
Mistborn?
Brandon Sanderson.
I've never heard of that.
See, we gotta check it out sometime.
I guess
you should. It's a really great book.
See,
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. Telling me about the religion. Jesus Christ has always been a good style.
Religion.
It will sell.
Embrace the power of religion. Okay. You know, So the Syndicate actually invented indulgences and tithe collecting, all the stuff that undermined God's worldly authorities. That's one of the few L's I've seen in this book so far. You don't fuck with
love
God.
and mammon.
Remember, God created the pussy. He can destroy it just as easily. So, anger and despair against religion makes people cynical about the Chorus's message. So just make people angry, and it's easy. The tricky part is selling atheism. Nothing would hamper this tradition's message like worldwide atheism, but, that experiment kind of fucked up in the Soviet Union, and it's hard to sell a subculture defined by the absence of something. Some guys in media control and financiers keep drawing up ideas. We haven't got anything yet. I think they're kind of getting fucked on that recently just because, like, Reddit atheism, it worked for a short bit back in, like, 2013, but nowadays, like, I think more people are turning towards religion because they realize that, like, that Nietzsche was right about that. If God is dead, we have to replace him with something. Why not God 2.0?
And then the reason why we will never win the culture war is because we got people like, I don't know, the Quartering and Styx Hexenhammer promoting this shit.
The culture
false messiahs.
The culture wars manufactured bullshit. Fuck all of that. Just kill a politician. Anyway,
hi, I'm the Christian Quartering, and here's my Satanist friend, Styx Hexenhammer.
I want you to say that from what I've read so far, that is the main line of this book.
What, kill a politician or?
Yeah, pretty much.
This is exactly it. Free to market, free to people.
Bro, I ain't never getting a security clearance. Okay. Cult of Ecstasy. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That's still money hand over fist. It's not quite the 70s, but it's still really good. But even though these reality deviants really fuck with consensus with time effects, most of them just use it for staying high longer. And, they make being coked up and opening your mind with hallucinogenics look fucking awesome. We have controlling interests in poppy fields and coca plants. The ecstatics are rarely a significant problem as far as gaining consensus mind share, and most of their would-be apprentices are either stoned out of their mind or they died of an overdose. Sometimes those overdoses are courtesy of the enforcers, trying to keep the number of people capable of temporal chaos down, but don't worry about that. We just gave him a lot of coke and he died, and now we don't got to worry about that anymore. Easy peasy.
Yeah, what did your average office look like in the 80s?
Here, I don't know.
So after all,
okay, so what I was going to talk about next? Hang on, I had a point here. I had a fucking point here. Sorry, go ahead.
That's your Destiny impression, right?
I don't see. Who the fuck is Destiny again?
He's the left wing debate bro that got busted for leaking people's news without telling them.
Oh, didn't he get Nick Fuentes to suck his cock?
Yes. He sucked Nick Fuentes' cock.
Oh,
and
that's the culture war in a nutshell. Boiled it. This is what we're working with.
If you ever have the misfortune of watching one of his videos, he has the Adderall voice. The man is on 20 different uppers, and he speaks it so quickly you have to put him on half speed to understand what the fuck he just said.
I'm not going to watch him because I don't believe in culture war bullshit anymore.
That sounds like average StarCraft 2 player right there.
Yes.
When they're competitive.
Anyway.
Fuckers sound like Animal Crossing residents.
Whenever Destiny speaks, you're just holding down the B button wherever he speaks.
Oh, hey.
Like a Paper
Mario.
Storyteller, you need to either turn your your mic up and the soundboard down.
I agree with that.
Oh, no wonder my fucking volume's been at half volume right now.
Yeah, turn up your voice and then turn down your soundboard a bit.
All right, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Okay,
is there any money to be made into Dream speakers?
Let me get my notes back out.
There's money to be made everywhere.
Unless it's LSD.
No.
Well, that's why we had the Cult of Ecstasy. We were just over that. No, Dream. So here's what we do. We sell white guilt to people. That's all you gotta do. You mix it with all the new agey bullshit like astral projection and embracing the spirit world, and then you could sell Ouija boards to people and shit. And then also, like, ghost hunting was a great fad for undermining the Dream Speaker's ideas. Like, lack of firm evidence to strengthen the consensus. It was great. You know, we had all these people using these dumb gadgets to try and hunt ghosts and shit. And, you know, people were eating that up because they realized that there weren't any ghosts, even though the places were creepy. And, you know, so media control is actually in the process of drafting, like, the next big anti-Dream Speaker campaign. It's hard to keep selling public's interests, though, when what you're selling is a lack of evidence. That's the only bad part about that shit.
Let's see.
Okay.
I'm looking at this. Kyle, are you familiar with Race to Dinner?
No.
You essentially pay these 2 empty egg cartons, pulling up their names right now, Regina Jackson and Syra Rao, and you sit down with them, and they tell you about how you're white and that you're disgusting, your entire race needs to be destroyed, you should have been smothered at birth, and then you just give them money for them telling you that.
God, I remember these guys. I saw the commercial for this. I thought that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, exactly that.
Wasn't
and as
there
it
that
turns out,
Netflix-
people will actually pay money for that.
Wasn't there that Netflix movie, Dear White People, that got a lot of flack back in, like, 2017?
Yeah, that shit, too. And then, what else is it? They're not called the Primal Screams, but it's this, like, all these different, like, white women pay money to go off into the woods and scream their heads off and punch each other in the face and punch themselves in the face about Donald Trump. Or you have the men that take the trauma baths, where you spend $1,000 just to sit in a bathtub with other men and cry.
Oh, I thought there was the one where, like, you get guys to, like, physically and verbally abuse you for not being a good enough man.
Oh yeah, the awful male boot camps.
Yeah, that's some bullshit.
You see,
if you want to do that, just join the fucking Marine Corps. It's cheaper, and they pay you.
Very easy to separate a man from his money.
No shit.
Especially nowadays. Syndicate must be eating great these days.
Oh, yeah. They got so many fucking rackets going on with the culture war bullshit. I imagine it's great. And now, moving on, allow me to reintroduce myself to those of you who don't know. Gary Kaminsky, Euthanatos, how you doing? I kill people that waste their fucking lives because they're wasting their fucking lives. That's what I do, okay? Okay, so the Euthanatos, they're just bad news. It's hard to sell murder psychos. You can market a fear of serial killers and, you know, TV dramas and movies, and all it does is instill a sense of distrust in them. They just exist to cause chaos to the global machine, serving, you know, the good death. Their entropy effects work against all of our own, and if they really wanted to, they could destabilize everything that we've built. When it comes to Euthanatoi, enforcers have a shoot first, burn the body later policy. Just fuck you, Thanatos.
The murder mage. You can't reason with somebody who's paid to kill you. You could like paying the assassin with the Thanatos doesn't work because their principles come before the payment.
I cannot wait when we play mage and I get to play as Gertie Kaminsky. Because I love to be the mage that everybody's scared of. And it's like, who's that? Who's the fellow there with the long jacket and the fancy glasses on? Who is that? Gertie Kaminsky, how you doing? William Davis, right? You're Syndicate? I got real bad news for you, pal. Yeah, it's today. Face the wall.
I'm due now already with Ends the Road in Ridgecrest, Appalachia.
I know, but Ends the Road is just a brute. See, Gertie Kaminsky at least tries to have some chivalry about him, or at the very least, you know, tries to be funny. Look, I'm just doing my job, man. Don't worry about it. Look, I'll tell you what, I'll give you one on the house, and if you need anybody taken care of, you just call your old pal Gertie. I'll be there soon. I'll be there lickety-split. Don't you worry about a thing, man.
Yeah.
I fucking dude. There's so many characters I want to play. I just haven't yet. Anyway.
I feel that.
The number one buyers at the Hot Topic.
Yeah, Hollow Ones. This is easy. They just two financiers came up with this wacky idea a long time ago. One, make the guys mainstream enough to have specialty stores in the malls. Everyone laughed at them until they succeeded. And then they laughed with them all the way to the bank, you know. But you know, selling these guys goes beyond making goth into a hot fashion. You know, they make a lot of money from the porn and then sell their lack of ideals. They're like slacktivists, so the traditionalists. They're more concerned about easy shit bitching, about gender word choice, to make sure that people have drink free trade coffee than they are about making real change in the world. So we'll just sell them their conscience one microtransaction at a time. $10 to charity, feel good about yourself, and fuck off.
My mind immediately went down the toilet. I thought you said sell them porn for a minute.
Well, no, they did. That's in the book. That's quite literally in the book.
Oh, you did say that. Okay.
Yeah, it was like, it says, but selling these guys goes beyond making goth into a sexy fashion, even though we make a lot of money selling that fashion as pornography.
So you're telling me that these are guys behind OnlyFans?
Yes.
You have
it's quite literally
goth mommies are.
There is a picture out there. It's John Hamm from Mad Men, and he's standing in front of like the poster board giving his big presentation, and there's just like an OnlyFans model there, and he's like, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna call it feminist equality, and then they're gonna dance naked for the price of a cheeseburger.
I've seen that, and it's
such
sad
a
but
good
true.
image.
It's sad but true.
Let's get to the verbatim when we get to them.
That's what it is. They bring up in this book, like, what's the number way we can take down the verbena? Feminism.
Yes, actually, that comes later. But next we need to talk about the Hermetics. So
the thorn in the side of the Technocracy.
Yep. Everybody's always entranced by fantasy, and you know, people always want to make fantasy real. But all you really need to do for this one, just break fantasy out of the closet with big blockbuster movies. Just market the shit out of it, you know? Everybody's going to be talking about Harry Potter and fucking, you know, and Jon Snow and shit. And then all their other power goes to shit. It's great. I keep saying it's great. Like I'm really getting immersed in the role of a syndicate technocrat.
They look the Hermetics look at the movies that the syndicate's releasing, and you would think that if more people think you can do this, or you see it done by somebody, like you have that episode of Dragon Ball Z where Gohan is teaching Videl how to channel your chi, and like people at school were replicating it the next day. Like you just clench your fist hard enough, like super, super tight to the point where it feels like you're about to split the skin on your knuckles. And then you release it and it feels like there's an energy in your hand. And then you do that. That would sound like it would be helpful and that you would have more and more Sorcerer's Awakening. But the Syndicate will do the spell in the movie wrong. Ever so slightly in the Harbingers. Hermetics look over and say, wait, that's not how it works. That's not how that works. You don't cast a spell like that. And then if you try to cast that spell in public, somebody's going to say, hey, you did the fireball. That's not how it's supposed to work. Paradox.
Oh, yeah. See, that's a brilliant fucking thing. This is why I like the Syndicate. They've got all these clever solutions.
They thought this shit out.
Yeah, they did. You know, that's the free market at work. It's doing its job. Anyway, Hermetics. So, oh, wait, no, we already talked about Hermetics. Sons of Ether.
Yeah. Yes. Sons of bitches.
They're just fun to fuck with. Just turn their ideas into aesthetic. You know, have people walk around with the brass and clockwork themed accoutrements and the top hats and the goggles, and you know, just turn it into a fan subculture. It'll fuck up everything they do.
This is exactly what's going on right now. That's why the Sons of Ether have just lost their identity and they're just a meandering faction doing fuck all with themselves now.
Yep. Diesel Punk is better. Fuck Steampunk.
Yes.
Diesel Punk looks cooler, and it's cooler, and it generates more power, and it's cooler.
Black is better.
Yep. Anyway, Verbena. So it's really easy to, you know, the whole return to our roots vibe, the Verbena push, is really easy to sell to the people disillusioned with modern living. No one in the Syndicate is pushing the masses to buy chickens to slaughter for ritual, at least no one taken seriously. We can sell lesser versions of that, and it works great. So what we've been doing is pushing something to drastically undermine them. Feminism. We can't take any credit for the feminist movement. Until the dimensional anomaly, the Syndicate leadership was fighting to keep the status quo, well, the quo, as it was. But a lot of Syndicate women have firmly stated the best way to keep their gender disinterested in female celebrating mystical cult is to start sharing power in the actual legitimate world. Just no easy sell to the men in power, but, the women won't give up. You can tell the guy, right, the fucking narrator's just a bit of a scumbag, but, like... And also there's this afterword for that. That said, these women put the convention in an interesting position as they frequently collaborate with the NWO's Collegium of Gender Studies. Whether that will lead to subterfuge for or against us is unclear, but the leadership is just watching for now.
You remember when we were doing our episode on the Black Fury, how I point out that there's not one feminism, there's feminisms.
Yes.
Multiple movements under multiple ideas that don't necessarily get along with each other and are at odds with each other. A second wave feminist is going to have nothing in common with a fourth wave.
Oh, yeah, no. I didn't even know there was a fourth wave. I know the third wave was the cringe one, but...
Yeah, fourth wave is what is a woman.
I didn't even know there was waves.
Yeah. there's different ideas as to what is a woman now in the year 2025, and that's causing the hardcore feminists to be labeled as trans-exclusionary. And now you got this big debacle where now they're getting their bank accounts frozen and they're canceled and they can't fucking work anywhere now.
Yeah, it's not very feminist of them, is it?
Yeah.
That's not very cash money of you.
It is not. That is not very, very yeehaw of you.
It's not. The best way to fight a traditionalist is to freeze his bank account.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So, virtual adapts. It's a hard sell for virtual adapt culture. The only people buying into it are people who want to be a part of it. Cyberpunk isn't dead, but, projections show that it's not the big thing anymore. I mean, you can still, do stuff with them. Build, sanitized versions of their innovations, one that makes sustainable and thriving consensus. Social media is a fucking masterwork, and it worked great. We love how that went out. There's me saying great again. I take a shot every time I say great in this video.
Make the Syndicate great again.
Yeah, that's basically how I feel reading this book. So, basically the whole idea is just sell shittier ideas of the adepts' ideas that are flawed and create consumer distrust, and that's really fucking important, and not cause market correction. So, it's kind of double-edged. Everything that they sell marketed towards the VAs can be used against them. Because even though it is fundamentally flawed, if they're smart enough, they'll find a way to make it work. And that could kind of fuck up what they've got going on with it. So,
Are you using Photoshop to cast spells? Guess what? Now, your subscription, you have to pay us now.
Basically, yeah. And then the virtual adept was, time to fucking fix the Yarhar fiddly tea up, motherfucker.
Yeah. You ready to join the Syndicate, Ryan?
No, I kind of want to cast spells using what was it?
A Wiimote?
Yeah, Photoshop.
You just drag a little cutout piece of paper across the screen of a magic missile.
That's what you do, and then it happens to the person in real life.
That is really funny.
My ultimate creation.
Oh, man. Okay. They don't have a whole lot to say on the other reality deviants. They kind of lump the Marauders and the Nefandi into one bucket where they're like, fuck both of these guys.
You can't reason without those.
No, the Marauders will just try to kill you. The Nefandi will capture you and torture you. There may even be Nefandi in the Syndicate, as we found out in Evans's little mini chronicle.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
And you can't reason with crazy.
No, you cannot.
Absolutely not.
Vampires. They are an anachronism and microcosm. They're a secret society based on feudalism while they still interact with the modern economy. It's stable, but only within that masquerade so long as it isn't threatened. And some of their longer-lived ilk have entrenched themselves in the consensual economy, which is kind of interesting to deal with. In all honesty, it's hard not to respect them. But don't mistake that respect for vampiric reverence overall. Those reality deviants, you can at least strike a peaceful accord. Money is, the lingua franca, or lingua franca of society. Lingua franca? I think it is.
Yes.
And, you can even build, value, peace, and profitable business from a vampire. The younger, more rebellious ones are a little bit of pain, and, you know, other conventions are better off dealing with them. So, like, older werewolf or older vampires, cool shit. Younger vampires, fuck them.
Because after all, vampires don't like spending their money, right? They like to hoard this shit.
Yeah, it's not really good for the bottom line, is it?
But then again, who's one of Pentex's best customers?
The
Sabbat.
Oh, well, wait, why the Sabbat?
Because they want to get their guns on the cheap, and then they allow guns to take on the Jihad and the Camarilla.
Buy them from somewhere the fuck else.
Go
to Palmetto State Armory, for Christ's sake, and buy an AR-15 for $300.
The Syndicate.
Anyway.
Just go ahead and buy your guns from them.
Werewolves. Here's more light jabs at the NWO. The werewolf decline was greatly exaggerated, much to our dismay, and they'll continue to target Technocrat holdings. They are frightening insurgents. A war against these insurgents is very, very costly, but letting them go is even more so. And some werewolves are more dangerous than others, but in all honesty, you know, and some of our enforcers are good at eliminating the city lupines, but it's not usually our job to do so.
Mm-hmm.
So they're kind of scared about werewolves.
I love the Glasswalkers, though. They're mentioned by name on page 42 or 43.
Hell yeah.
They talk about how they don't want to deal with the competition. They don't want to make deals with terrorists. We don't make negotiations with the enemy. But occasionally their hands are tied. They have to go along with something because you're not in a position to handle the issue at that time. And one faction that they frequently have to deal with in this regard are the Glasswalkers, where the Glasswalkers have infiltrated the Technocracy and are going around stealing their information and copying that because Cockroach would say, I'd rather beat you at your own game than slaughter you all. Which is where you have the corporate wolves and the massive, massive piles of money that the corporate wolves pull in, and why the Glassworkers are rich to the point where they could secede from the Guru Nation if they wanted to.
I think they'd succeed and join the Technocracy at this rate.
And then Weaver Ascending apocalypse scenario happens.
That is the Weaver Ascending scenario. The Glassworkers either take over or get corrupted by the Technocracy.
Bada bing, bada boom. Okay.
I mean, is that really a bad thing?
It's
the world ends, so yes.
Nah, it's good. It's a good thing.
The gauntlet becomes so thick that nothing can ever cross over ever again.
Yeah, and then again, the apocalypse. I
I
thought the whole idea was to avoid the apocalypse. What the fuck's wrong with you people?
Yes.
You can't avoid the apocalypse.
Honestly,
It's gonna happen.
Glasswalkers joining the Technocracy wouldn't be an apocalypse scenario. I think it would be for the best.
I personally love chaos, so.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, I mean, like, I can't get McDonald's and beer with chaos. So anyway,
There'll be less Bane spirits at least.
I mean, yeah, but at what cost? Us all being glazed by the fucking Weaver webs until we can't move, and then God has to reset the universe again. He's probably gonna get sick of that shit, evidently.
Show sucks. Time to reboot it.
He's like, oh shit, that fucking spider froze everything in place. Hang on.
We defeated Thanos. We got to start the movie series all over again.
Basically. Others.
Oh, wait,
What's up?
I think it would be the Machine Takeover, not Weaver Ascendant.
That's part of Weaver Ascendant.
So Terminator then, basically.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know. Werewolves fighting Terminators would kind of go hard, though, not gonna lie.
Honestly, if the Glasswalkers joined the Technocracy, I would see Werewolf Terminators.
Where the GWs become the soul hackers.
That's kind of that soul hacker. That kind of goes hard, though. It sounds like an industrial band.
Is it?
Anyway, so there's no such thing as ghosts, fairies, or demons. Hunters, however, they're interesting. They don't make a huge impact on us, but just keep an eye on them. That's it.
Just keep a little eye on them. Nothing bad's going to happen, right?
You know, what were they saying earlier about just, like, undermining the power of God? That's probably a very, very poor idea.
You're not going to win this scenario. In my mind, Hunter the Reckoning is how the story ends.
Oh, the How? What?
Through the assistance of God, humanity takes their lives back into their own hands and live lives off of their choosing.
So the world doesn't end in the Hunter the Reckoning ending.
Yes, where you're sure everything supernatural dies with it, but it's humanity's decision, and they overcome supernaturals.
That's kind of a bittersweet ending, I guess.
Yeah, but like a lot of good people had to die for it to be possible, but yeah.
Sounds like a shit ending for the Glasswalkers, though.
But hey, it still
Now-
at least get to live.
Now, here's a spot they forgot to mention: demon.
They
So
don't
there's
exist.
There's a certain demon faction called the Faustians.
Yeah, but demons don't exist.
They don't exist.
I guarantee you they do.
They don't
Yes.
exist. The book says they don't exist. They don't exist.
They say they don't
Sure.
exist.
But personally,
I don't believe in fairies.
My mind is going through all these situations like literal deals with the devil with the syndicate. Or you want to make some stupid money? Well, go ahead, just go into contact with the demon, talk with the Lamasu or the Neferu, and get them on your side. All right, now, how do you become a member of the syndicate, Kyle?
I don't know.
So what? There's two ways. Either be a guy that's a venture capitalist who goes off on your own, and the syndicate approaches you and says, "Hey, buddy, you want to make some stupid money? Well, we're going to show you how it's done." Or B, be a guy that's so far in debt that you will never get out of it, but you're determined to climb your way out of it, even though you know it's impossible. The syndicate will discover this, approach you and say, "We will solve all of your financial burdens if you do what we say when we say it. Sure, you might be a slave to us, but a slave in name only. You'll be able to climb your way out of this after you do this for us, do that for us. We'll give you a big stack of paper and work. You'll know what needs to be done by the week, but we won't be looming over your shoulder to do so. And eventually you shed your debt, but by this point, you can't leave the syndicate. You can't just quit the syndicate. That's not a thing that happens. Because, well, why would you? 6 in resources, 7 in resources. You're so well off, but if you quit the syndicate, don't quit the syndicate. It's not going to be pretty.
Well, you're probably going to get killed.
Yeah.
Or God, worse.
And
Unpersoned.
that's what's happened. You'll be sent to a New World Order re-education camp because you're too valuable to quit.
It has come to
Should've
my
paid me more,
attention
motherfucker.
that you wish to leave the syndicate. Allow me to take you to room 101 to have you re-educated.
How about you re-educate the dick?
Wouldn't surprise me if there's a Ponzi scheme built in where in order to climb you need to get 2 other people or more to join to fill your position. So you're constantly just expanding the numbers.
I would hate to do the fucking onboarding for the syndicate.
Okay, getting the guy to sign the contract is always the hardest part. Where he's always going to want to be apprehensive about it. He's going to say, "Can I reread this a few times? Like, just put your name on the paper already. Let's get this done.
Do it, pussy, no balls!"
I got somewhere else to be." And with the similar to the NWO, where they had the black suit, the gray suit, the white suit, in the syndicate you have the producers, where that's your lowest level. You're the guy you make something, you sell something, you make money, and then you level up to an associate, and then a manager, and then a chairperson, and then it's a VPO is their highest ranking. What do you think that stands for?
A VP?
Vice President of Operation.
Oh.
Where we have 7 of these. There's only 7 in existence. You have the VP of Energy, Finance, Healthcare, Media, Manufacturing, Transportation, and Resource Extraction. Where, in order, those positions are held by somebody in Saudi Arabia, Japan, Germany, the United States, China, England, and China again. As Syndicate has realized there's a lot of money to be made in China. A lot of cheap labor, right? Behold, your little boy will go blind from mercury exposure at 8 years old, but at least I'll be okay.
Yep, basically. But right before the world ended, we made a lot of shareholders very happy.
It's
And that's
very
what
good.
Counts.
We died with a smile. You do have a small morality code with the Syndicate. Granted, it's twisted, but still a morality code all the same. Rule number 1, always be closing. Always make money. The line must go up forever. You're not allowed to lose. If you're losing, find a way to win. Find the best out of your circumstances at any time. You can always get something out of this. If you get nothing, or even worse, if you lose, then you're going to have to go and speak at the office with us. You might not come out of that office.
Again, room 101.
See. Work the timetable. You know what needs to be done. Get it done. We don't need to hover over your shoulder and tell you what to do. We're laissez-faire in the Syndicate. You know what's expected of you. Don't call us. We'll call you if something comes up. Thou shalt not steal. Once again, our money comes from the market. You can't just take a man's money. You can't just steal his resources. We pay other people to do that. If you pay a man to do that for you, then it's fine. But you yourself do not do anything like that. The Syndicate as a whole really de-incentivizes violence. Where you look at their weapons in first edition, it was just guns that you could buy at a store. And that's all it was.
Yeah, no crazy gadgets or anything.
The strongest weapon they had was a revolver that just dealt 6 damage on the impact. And that was it.
That's it.
Yeah, you can't kill a werewolf with
this
that.
magnificent laser device that does 200 damage per shot. It costs $12 billion. The Syndicate has. I have like a basic 1911. It kills people.
I bought this at Walmart with a gift card, and it kills people.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm gonna kill you with the power of friendship and this gun I found.
Yes. You gotta be sensible with your purchases, right? I mean, just because you have money doesn't mean you need to throw it around everywhere. That's what poor people do when they get new money. All right. Consorting with the enemy. We do not make deals with the enemy, only unless we absolutely have to. You may kill the enemy and take their stuff after you kill them, and then that's as far as your deal with the enemy is going to go. But yeah, that's the page where they bring up the Glass Workers by name. Cover your ass. If you get caught for anything, if the NWO thinks they're about to inspect you, if the Iteration X is about to probe you, don't let that happen. Don't let yourself lose anything. Don't let the Order of Hermes or any other tradition get one over on you. Don't leave anything open. Don't be vulnerable in any way. Become an invincible bulwark where you will never lose anything if shit hits the fan. And then lastly, generosity. We are the bag holders of the Technocracy. We're the quartermasters. We decide who gets what. A lot of people are going to ask you for really stupid shit. It's your job to tell them no. But in the event you say yes, give them as much money as possible in order to make sure that project actually takes off.
That's fair.
Yeah, so be generous, but stingy at the same time. And then you have your methodologies with the operatives, where we have distribution, aka who decides who gets what. This is broken up into 3 different groups. You have assessment, where these are your average accountants, so to speak. You're sitting at a table, you're saying, here's how much you spent on this, here's how much this cost, here's our shrink, here's our loss, here's who's getting paid what. You pick the schedule, you write the schedule, you do the payroll, you're doing office work, essentially. That's your magic. Bombs away. What spells did you cast? I typed enter on a keyboard. That's what I did for today. Your data entry is what you're doing. Kyle, would you like to work in data entry?
Dude, if I could just... I'm going to be honest. What I would do is I would get a data entry job, and then I would just write all the SQL and all of the PowerShell script to do it, and just automate the shit out my job and just make money doing nothing.
A chimpanzee could do this job.
Basically, yeah. But no, like you get the right fucking Excel the right Excel commands, you get the right PowerShell commands, you do a little bit of SQL, and you automate your entire job.
You have reorganization. This is literally, oh my god, I say literally. This is the Department of Government Efficiency, is what the reorganization is. You get an email from these guys every week. They say, what have you done this week? If they can't answer it, you fire them. You also make sure, Are you spending too much on this? Do we need to do business with this man? Do we need to do this? Is it costing too much money? If it's costing too much, then don't do it. Cut it out of the budget. Make sure that we constantly stay in the black, or even better, in the green. Making sure just you pay a man to tell you how to spend your money.
Yep.
So
I feel like that's just like a weekly email that you draft up on Friday right before you leave the office. It was just like, okay, we were working on this. It costed this much. This is getting us to this goal, and this is why we need this funding for this, which we are generating this profit with this percentage of risk. See you next week. I'm going to the bar.
That's what you do. It's an easy day at work. But you clock in at 6, you clock out at 10. Easy, and you get paid for a full 8 hours.
Yep. Seems like a sick deal on a Friday, in all honesty.
And then the Syndicate's procurements division. You're over actual distribution. You're looking at money you're looking at money in transit. You're looking at goods being in transit. You're the one that's organizing the trucks, the helicopters, the planes, the ships, the cars. Keeping track of where the stuff is going, where the money's going. Has it got to its destination? Are we getting robbed in transit? Well, how much have we lost in the shipment? And you collect the check at the end of the day for, I give you the good, you give me the check, I submit the check, I give that to another division, they type it in for us, that's my job.
Those of you familiar with file transfer protocol, the 3-way handshake.
This is essentially what Intergener does.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And also what I end up doing, but I'm the guy that decides what the shipment is going to be. I'm not the guy who's delivering it.
It is.
But sometimes I am. Sometimes I'm the delivery team.
I'd hate to rope this back into IT, but in the field that I work at, in the field of work that I do in IT, there is file transfer protocol, how your file gets from one computer to the other. It is, hi, would you like to receive, is a computer sends a request to a server. I would like to receive this file. Would you like to receive this file? Yes. Okay, I'm sending you this file. Have you received this file? Yes. The 3-way handshake.
And then you have extraction, aka what you're doing, Kyle, security.
Security.
Yeah. Yeah, cybersecurity, right?
I have my certification in cybersecurity. I do a little bit of it, but most of it's just tech support.
See, you're going around, you're making sure that, are we getting robbed? Are we getting breached? We are. Okay, you're going in, you're dealing with it. You're plugging the leak, you're finding out who's responsible for it, you're getting the people that are going to retrieve your stuff together, you send them out, and then that's it. You're making sure, your job is to eliminate company shrink as soon as possible.
Yep, sign out of all sessions, block sign-ins, reset the account, re-authenticate the multi-factor authentication, and then check sign-in logs for the next 30 days to make sure that they haven't gotten in since then.
See, aka what you could do at Lowe's, asset protection. You go around without a uniform on, you walk around, you spy on customers. If they steal something, you call 911, they're at the door waiting for them.
Yep.
I do.
That's what it is. Next up is our enforcers, who do violence without actually putting their hands on anybody. This is the white-collar violence kind of department, where you have legal divisions, lawsuits, the really boring stuff.
Yeah, basically. Do you want to play a tabletop game where you're a lawyer?
It could be Better Call Saul if you're really charismatic and really good at this, or it could just be really bad Phoenix Wright improv theater. But what's a little bit more interesting is that bail bondsmen are also applied to this. So, guess who's out catching people who busted their bail? These guys. Where I told you about the New Jack story, the wrestler New Jack, how he was a bounty hunter for a side job.
Yep.
Where he told a guy that he was with that just wanted to do a ride-along with him. Here's a gun. I'm going to go into his house. If I don't come out in 30 minutes, come through the front door with this gun in your hand. And then 22 minutes passed. He came up with the guy, put him in the back seat, told his partner, keep your hand on your backrest for your chair, because he might try to strangle you with the handcuffs in transit. If he does that, you then recline back and then you aim the gun into his face as you do that.
New Jack is fucking insane, dude.
Oh, the shit that man did and how calm he was in telling those stories.
Goodness
it's chilling.
He's just made to kill.
Let's see. You have the extra legal division, aka the reverse of what you're doing with legal division, where you're openly associating with criminals, crime lords, smugglers, triads, the Yakuza, the Russian mafia, the Italian mafia, the Mexican drug cartels, the Honduras human traffickers, the white power fraternities, the biker gangs, anybody that's doing business illegally, but, money is still trading hands. So we support it.
Money's money, after all.
Blood
Here it
money's
is.
still money.
He might be a Nazi, but his money's just as good as anyone else's.
Money can be exchanged for goods and services.
What was it? Like back when this Ukraine shit started, like Nestle was still doing business with Russia, and their response was, "Well, their money's just as good as anyone else's money." I don't care if they're I don't care if they're invading somebody. We're going to sell them Crunch bars.
Fucking Nestle, I swear to God.
They're the devil.
They really are.
See,
Definitely
extra national.
company.
Where extra national, what you're doing with these is that you are the quote unquote the deep state. You're going around and you're getting the payment for Barack Obama's 800 hot dog purchase is what you're doing. And along with that, some like the creeper stuff like Jeffrey Epstein, John Podesta, that kind of shit they're also doing. Where it's evil, but that guy's willing to pay a shitload of money for it. So
this is where the Syndicate takes the L's. If you would have just not done that.
That Pentex is evil, but if Pentex is paying me that much for it, then I guess I can just go ahead and let it slide.
Yeah. When money overrules the moral compass
best.
of the Syndicate is where I have the issues.
And
I like
then
the Syndicate and all, but Order Hermes for life.
Order of Hermes, absolutely.
No, just be Euthanatos. Just kill people.
The inspectors is short for information specialist, where what you do is that you trace in the crimes like break-ins, computer hacking, document recovery, kidnapping, and you either are the ones to do it or you snitch on people who are doing it. Corporate espionage is the name of the game here, where you're either doing something illegal towards the company, trying to screw them over, get them under the heel of the Syndicate, or you catch someone else doing that to your company and then you rat them out to authorities. No, you can do the crime, but nobody else can.
I mean, yeah, it's easier when you cheat like that.
You notice that, like with the modern day Marvel movies, how there's like no supervillains going around. It feels like we could go down like a boys route with it, where in order to give the Avengers work, the like Shield just create supervillains to cause stuff in public, and then the Avengers go out and do something, and then get more money and profit coming Shield's way.
Yeah, but that would take balls that Disney doesn't have.
Yeah, that's what the Syndicate is doing. They're controlling opposition, getting crises to happen just so the New World Order and Progenitors, Iteration X can have more reason to get involved in the American government and global governments in general and have their way with it. There it is. Crisis management, right?
It works, yeah.
Next up, acquisitions. We have the financiers, this group is called the financiers, where you're taking money, you spend that money, and then you get more money back than what you spent.
Here, go buy yourself some more money.
That's what you gotta do. You gotta spend money to make money. We begin with acquisitions, where that's basically what you're doing. You're going around, I give you money, you give me a return on it. I'm investing into your business. It's Shark Tank is what it is. Where you look at this and you say, okay, I'm going to invest in your company. How much of a percentage of your company am I going to own? How often am I going to get returns? And what are you going to do for me in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? That's what you're doing. Or you just go out and you just purchase a company outright and then bring them into the fold of the Syndicate. And behold, welcome to the family, son. Next up is the entrepreneurship, where more than likely this is going to be your Syndicate character whenever you play a game, where you create a company, you create a product, sell it. It's that easy. It's that simple. That's all you gotta do. You put the product in the bag. And then, of course, the Syndicate will get a cut of that money, but, it's good to work with this trade union going on because, everybody's going to have each other's back, right?
Yep. That's what's fun.
Absolutely.
And then liquidations. Liquidations. You have a company going out of business, you pay another man to fire your people for you. I don't get why corporate offices would want to do that. But I don't know, maybe it's like some sort of shit going on with contracts, I don't know. But
it's so that the people of the company that they're getting fired from don't get shot, and instead the ire is going towards outside companies' employees.
I gotta say, I would love to work as a person who fires people for a living.
As a liquidator?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, you're fired. Get out of here.
That sounds terrible.
You go to a company that's about to die. You see just how much money you're going to get out of it. Your job in liquidations. You cut the losses. That's it. That's as simple as it is. Just try to get something out of this.
Sign me up.
And of all the groups in the syndicate, that one has the biggest margin for error because like shit might go wrong in that job, but the company's going into liquidations. People are acting desperate. You're not guaranteed a victory in that. Let's see who's next. Media control. You know who's making your movies and your TV and your games? The syndicate is. After all, their money goes to producing this stuff. So who do we have here? First one, the effects division, aka the engineers of reality. They're the ones on CNN and Fox News and ABC telling you what's happening in the world, and in case they can get something where they can push the envelope on reality deviance, then that is no longer paradox related. That is now just something that people can do. They're the ones that are telling you, hey, you can now buy a 3D printer. You can now buy this makeup. And then you can just take it and it's like ever so slightly magical. And these are the people that are going around telling you what to think, essentially. Where, I don't know, propagandists is a better word for these guys.
Well, yeah, that sounds about right.
All right.
Honestly, that sounds like the New World Order more than syndicates.
But at the same time, the government can just tell you this stuff about it, so they can just enact martial law whenever they want and take forcible control over the media, or you can have a corporation do it where they can tell you the story that fits their agenda and then work with the government while keeping the money for themselves. So this is their one remaining tie to the NWO is these guys. Next up is your spin division. You lie to people. That's your job. You go over, you find out something that happened that's in the news. Instead of reporting the facts, you take the story, you fill it with lies, you omit information that could be harmful, and then you give that to the American public.
Yep.
You are the enemy of the people, essentially.
Yep. Again, the syndicate starts taking L's at this juncture.
And then marketing, where you sell stuff. You are the one that's promoting the entrepreneurs, their products. You're getting these ads on TV. You're promoting these new series, and that's your job. Just make sure that your advertisement gets out there. People see it. People then buy the thing. Kyle, what's the reason why people watch the Super Bowl?
Because
Not
I
for
like
the game.
What?
Not for the game. It's for the ads.
Well, yeah, the ads are usually better for that, and I don't know why.
I don't know about that.
Where you have people that will watch the Super Bowl just for the commercials, just to find out what commercial is going to be on TV for that time.
Yeah,
but to be fair, those commercials for 30 seconds are literally tens of millions of dollars in advertisement fees you have to pay.
You pump in all this shit into the production too. Like, do you really need to spend this much money for Pringles?
Yeah, because we have that kind of money, and it's the Super Bowl, one of the largest TV events of the year.
Where you're going to use it, you may as well lose it.
Well, it kind of pisses me off that and this is such like a dumb consumer thing to say, but like it pisses me off that they save all of their decent ideas for this one fucking TV event. Like you have all why did you pick now to take a risk on an actual legitimately entertaining commercial that gets people interested in your product when the rest of it is just like bullshit? Like, 9 out of 10 doctors recommend that if you watch it on Tubi, you can literally eat a can of Pringles 7 times a day. And no, I want to see a funny mascot have, mess with people and talk shit about why their product is better than all the other products. That's what I want to fucking see.
It's like there were teaser trailers for the commercials for the Super Bowl, dude. Bud Light released one that's got Shane Gillis and Post Malone that are walking up to a door and knocking on it, and it's a commercial for the commercial. It's got 334,000 views on YouTube.
That's kind of fucking funny.
This is how many idiots watch this?
A lot.
Yeah, that demographic is growing now these days.
And on top of that, that's how some of the biggest schemes in America have worked, because what was like the Ponzi scheme was, I'm building a railroad and I'm going to get my name out there that I'm building this railroad. If you give me money for the railroad, I'll eventually give you a return on investment. Oh no, all of your money's gone and so am I.
Yeah, that happened with a lot of like YouTuber Kickstarter games too.
Oh yeah.
Kind of reminds me of like billboards.
And BitConnect.
BitConnect.
Calvin, when we were playing Killer 7, you remember Andre Almeida? The second case where it was the guy that had his own city, and it was just filled with pictures of his face in the city. You had to do his quiz if you wanted to meet him, where he said, "Oh, by the way, our company, First Life Inc., how I made all this money, how I managed to buy an entire city and have my own cult in the city. That company doesn't exist. We just ran commercials. We convinced investors to give us money, and then I dipped. I vanished." That's how it worked.
That's basically what he did, yeah. And then we killed him.
Is that not a spell, so to speak, where I lied to you, and I lied so well, you gave me all your money, and then I vanished?
I believe it's called technomancy.
That's what it is, yes. So
it worked.
Yeah. Then you also have the Special Products Division, which is a group that formed because of the dimensional anomaly. And these are the guys that are making sure that the world doesn't end after that dimensional anomaly happened. Where you're keeping it hush-hush, you're making sure that the American public and the world does not know that threat null is real. There's not this giant group of aliens that are coming out to kill us. Pentex isn't trying to kill you. The werewolves aren't real. Vampires aren't real. You're containing all the stuff that is going to cause mass hysteria and panic, and just pretending that all is well, when you yourself know that no, not all is well.
You know, people are more willing to buy things that don't work when they're induced in a lot of panic. So if they do need to generate some short-term revenue and also eliminate a troublesome reality deviant, not a terrible idea to have as like a sort of emergency contingency plan.
You have economists in the syndicate. They're sitting and waiting for the masquerades to be breached irreparably, where they're waiting for, when is Gehenna going to happen? When is Gehenna going to happen? They're sitting, their eyes are like they're checking their phones or like vampire updates. And the event that it does happen, the masquerade is shattered. Zumichi comes out of New York City's subway tunnel and eats people. Then imagine how many products they have for sale when that does happen.
Well, I mean, none, because like, you know, Zumichi the Elder would activate all the people infected with, well, pretty much everybody's infected with fucking vicissitude at that point, and then they'd all be fucked. So no, it wouldn't matter, would it?
But we'll say it's the Sombra instead, like a guy you can at least fight against.
Or hell, if Jan Peterson were to does this whole thing where he goes on live TV and goes, yes, the vampires are indeed real, and we work in the shadows of society in order to maintain humanity. But there are other vampires out there that you may need to be concerned about. And the Syndicate goes, really? Other vampires they can be concerned about? This seems like an excellent opportunity to sell our services as vampire hunters.
Because you can imagine that, like the vampire repellent that they would have for sale. Like people buying garlic off the shelf.
Oh, yeah.
In droves to try to protect themselves. But alternatively, they're approaching vampires and saying, now that the hunters know you're real, would you mind buying our security system that's designed to keep the imbued out?
Yep.
And
see, they can make money hand over fist once Jan Peterson does this whole speech on TV.
And that's every gadget they have, like 3D printers, where they have all this stuff that's sitting in their warehouses, and they're waiting to sell it. And they're waiting for the NWO to say, yes, you have permission to sell this to the sleepers. And that's what reason why they want the NWO out of their hair, because you have all this future technology that people will pay a shitload of money for once you put on the market.
Exactly.
In case of Gehenna, break glass.
Yeah. That's exactly what this is. And amalgams, it's not hard to imagine what an amalgam for the Syndicate looks like. Just a bunch of middle managers walking around. That's essentially what it looks like.
Sounds boring.
That's what it is.
Bunch of like 50-year-old dudes in like suits just walking around with briefcases.
Now, before we talk about spells, Kyle, they have their own version of Pentex, right? Pax Corp?
Yes, they do. So,
now, Ryan, this is what's going to get you excited.
Pax Corp.
Right.
So, Pax Corp is basically how the Syndicate goes about managing all of their different IPs. So, Pax Corp is short for the Patent Assurance Executive Corporation. The branding skips the E for some reason. Yeah. Basically, the masses call them patent trolls. Basically, this company doesn't make or invent anything. This company's main goal is just have a giant team of lawyers that file lawsuits and close deals to stop patent infringement. They buy software patents, trademarks, and copyrights for abandoned projects. They send annoying litigators to anybody that comes up with something that sounds vaguely similar to anything else that they already own. They sort of function as a military espionage amalgam. They help defend the Syndicate's timetable. They buy out companies that are run by extraordinary citizens. They do hostile takeovers influenced by virtual adepts and other traditionalists, and occasionally are not above direct action either. So this company was registered both in Delaware and Singapore, so they have a local and an international office. It's a privately held company with public interests in tech development, civil law, and real estate. They show profits and losses sort of consistent with their own activities, and they oversee a handful of different companies. But on the inside, as we said before, they're just a small law firm. They're a small law firm if the lawyers could lead hit squads. So basically what they would have is they have like 5 to 10 enlightened full partners, a staff, and about 24 associates qualified in IP law, asset management, and close quarters combat. There are a number of different experience traits that you get for being a Pax Corp associate that changes depending on who you have as the leader or the CEO or the CFO or the VPO, however you want to put it, of Pax Corp. But the one we're going to talk about is the one that's in the book, and that is Thor Vestard. Thor Vestard is sort of like the de facto head of Pax Corp. He's ready for a new, less violent change in the direction of the company. He felt sort of pigeonholed by this whole heroic, effective enforcer reputation and would rather just stick to his desk. A little bit of background on him. He actually served in Iraq and Afghanistan. He turned down an 04 contract with SOCOM in exchange to go to law school. Initially to be, a private environmental lawyer. He wanted to protect the environment. The Pentagon had him reactivated for America's Army Future Soldier Program, where he would evaluate military contracts, assess the quality of gear, but he always seemed a bit more brighter and more determined than everyone else around him. And by the time that Azer GmbH had reached out to him, he had subconsciously he'd sort of taken control of Future Program or Future Soldier, which is where he realized that he was an awakened individual, an extraordinary person, if you will. He worked for Azer about a year while the Future Soldier Program sort of fell apart. And then with Azer, he taught agents about hypertech weaponry, campaigned for a position overseeing clean energy, carbon trading, or anything else that he could in order to fulfill his environmental aspects. He was actually then offered a position in Pax Corp until he learned that he would have to do more field work, which, as a former officer, he wouldn't want to do. 04, I believe, is rank of captain, or I think captain second class. I don't remember what it was in the Army.
I think that's right.
Yep. And so he sort of
It's
dropped.
Major.
Oh, it's Major. Okay. Thank you, Edin. I thought it was Major. I wasn't sure. So he sort of dropped field. He really wants to drop field work, but he isn't allowed to leave until they find a suitable successor. But the odd thing about him is how much he actually wants an environmentally stable future. And, you know, he himself is a very intelligent individual. You can see there's this picture here on which page is this? It's not going to tell me. Don't worry about it. But this guy, you know, he's, you know, this square-jawed Danish American, well-tailored suits, has sort of a, doesn't smile all that much, just sort of looks mildly irritated all the time, which if you're a major, yeah, that makes sense. But
I'll copy the amateur by home.
Yeah, let me get that in the
I beat you to it.
Okay, whatever. But
it's Donald Trump.
Kind of.
It is
kind of. But
Donald Trump.
What's weird is
Donald
that
Trump.
Thor seems less like an asshole somehow, and I don't know how. And
he's ripped.
When he's in the office, he's just sort of like stoic and mild-mannered. When he's when he's out in the field, he is just a brilliant fucking leader. It's I'm really torn on this character because, like, thinking about it,
he's got Chad energy to him.
He really does have some Chad energy to him, and he's an environmentalist, which kind of runs counterintuitive to the other things that fucking the Syndicate does. So I'm really torn about how this character is supposed to fit. I mean, he's like kind of a decent guy, but he also works for one of the bad guys. It makes him such a good villain, in all honesty, because like he doesn't seem like a bad dude. Like, he works in the field, he kills shit.
You would skip dialogue on.
What?
You wouldn't skip dialogue with him.
I would not, actually. Like, not. I think the only one who would be Tyler, but Cole would be like, "Oh, wait, I was in Iraq and Afghanistan too. How about that?" Probably have a nice long conversation with a fellow veteran, and Colt was Army too, so
And then Kendi Masimba is a Cornate.
I mean,
blood for the blood god.
Kendi would more so just like, where's he hiding all his money at?
None of your business.
Can I be paid to do anything for this? If he's not going to pay me, I'll just kill him. It's probably easy. Don't worry about it.
And
God, I miss Kendi.
So he's not dead yet.
I know, but it's a very real possibility right now, and I really do like that character. He's just so much fun to play.
So, anything else for these guys?
I mean, they do have like products and services, innovation, the whole infrastructure and everything. But the main thing I wanted to get into is like all the different shell companies that they have under their belt, which, first you have Azer, which is the company that, that Thor originally started working for. They're a German arms designer. They hold patents for modern rifling, aerospace guidance systems, and other defense technologies. Most firearms began licensed as Azer prototypes, but the firm reserves Mjolnir and Thomas to selected models for Syndicate operatives. Then you have Eris Design. They're, a small marketing and design firm. They have cool hunters and design narrators to figure out like what's the new trends and what can we make into the marketable trend. You have Iridium Medical with cutting edge insurance policies but mostly directly serve really wealthy clientele. Basically, if you're working for the Syndicate, your healthcare provider is going to be Iridium, as well as performance enhancement and anti-aging medication. But And then Mercury Logistics. Mercury pioneered the information and transportation of the modern age, and drones are pretty cool too. Plexic, source codes, black boxes, data centers. They acquired the fundamentals of search and systematic analysis from Iteration X in order to build, all of the Syndicate's social media and search engines. And the agents, use the backdoors for Plexic in order to gather information on clientele, on targets, on anything they could do. Basically, like you said, how they would cast a spell by hitting the enter key, that's through Plexic. And then you get Shenzhen Tianming, which is a Chinese state corporation for industrial and military-grade electronics. They're sort of split between reference designs for other firms, and they have some other features similar to Plexic. And then the Understanding. Basically, they kill what they refer to as problem managers from various groups. In exchange for a few services, they'll help the Syndicate carry out critical tasks. These are the hitmen for the Syndicate, is the Understanding. These are just some of the corporations that they go through as far as what they do, you know. But they've got a lot of stuff that they're working on. I mean, this is such a versatile villain, but it's weird that it almost doesn't have to be a villain.
You could see yourself working with this guy.
I could. That's the weird part about it. But, you know, they're the bad guy, but you're not supposed to. But you kind of can, though.
It's like if I had to pick my boss, it would be this dude.
Basically, yeah. If you wanted to pick a poison to take, it'd be the Syndicate. But, like, I remember I was thinking about this earlier when Yahtzee Croshaw, back when he was doing Zero Punctuation, reviewed Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood. And, you know, Yahtzee was really not sold on the whole humanity is doing this because, like, you know, the incarnation of evil is telling them to do so. And they're not just destroying the planet because of their own, you know, nearsightedness and, you know, apathy for environmental damage. This is that. This is 100% that. If Yahtzee wanted, you know, the side of humanity in the world of darkness that was just apathetic to suffering and wanted their own short-term profit, that is the Syndicate in a nutshell.
Burn the flower beds. There might be money underneath them.
Basically.
Is there money underneath? No! They keep digging!
Yeah. The Syndicate is the epitome of using a Renaissance meal to cook, using a Renaissance painting to cook a meal.
Mm-hmm. So it is. If it doesn't benefit you, then fuck it. Kill it.
Basically.
Burn it, stab it. I don't care what happens to it.
We'll even let you keep the knife.
So can you see yourself using him in like a game way down the line?
Oh, with Thor?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Like, we encounter this guy in Miami or Los Angeles.
Well, no, that would be too early because they mentioned Afghanistan and Iraq, so like.
Oh well, you could change it to be Vietnam.
I don't know. There could be Syndicate in the future. The most probable place to put them, they would either be in Miami or in San Francisco, but they would be a lighter presence. I think Miami would be a better spot for them, especially with like. You know, the drug trafficking and the hyper capitalism of the 1980s, that'd all make sense for the Syndicate to be a part of.
Mm-hmm. And let's take a look at this. Close that tab. I don't need that open anymore. Now, the spells. Now you had spells in first edition that were like summon ambulance, point in life and point in correspondence. I pick up the phone, I call an ambulance, it picks me up. That's a spell. It was that simple. But then this book comes in and fills with it a little bit, where we have 3 points in life, advanced therapy. Would you like to go to the hospital and get the best kind of therapy you could ever ask for before? We're going to give you the kind of physical therapy and occupational therapy, respiratory therapy that only the rich people get, and now it's accessible to you. You get the best kind of medicine because you can afford it. So do you want a skincare medication that will get rid of your acne immediately? Yes, you can. You wipe it over your face, the pus immediately shoots out, the skin will drop right off, and behold, you clear your skin next day. You have trouble sleeping? We have a pill that will put you to sleep immediately. Or do you have irritable bowel syndrome? We'll put the infusion right into your colon, and behold, all of your ulcers are gone. We'll see you again in 6 months.
That's fucking incredible,
right.
Actually.
Yeah. Next up, branding, where you imprint an idea into a man's mind that it forms a brand in their brain cells, and that becomes something they become obsessed with. Where, example I give, shoes. You just use this on a spell. You use subliminal messaging to just burn shoes in a man's mind, and now they're just obsessed with Nike. They're obsessed with collecting sneakers that they will never wear.
Oh boy. Time for sleep. 1 hour in, they just hear.
I don't understand. Oh, Jesus Christ, no. You know, I really don't understand sneakerheads. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
You gotta collect something. I remember when I was a little kid, I would collect bouncy balls to get from like the gadget machines.
See, like,
but I'll like pull those out and I'd play with those.
I actually collected bottles, like different, beer bottles, soda bottles. You know, if it looked cool or if it wasn't something I'd ever seen before, I'd wash it out. I'd put it up on a shelf. I had like a dozen of them, like, just on my shelf when I was a kid.
And same thing with my PS2 game collection. The minute I get a copy of God Hand, it's complete.
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Yeah,
I have. That game's wild.
That game is it controls funky and it's stanky when you control it, but you'll never find a more ridiculously fun beat 'em up game out there. It was made by the same people that made Bayonetta.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Look at this. We have a spell in here called Downvote.
Behold, my ultimate spell, Zauratio.
God damn it.
It's Reddit.
Ready to say
It's just Reddit.
That's what this is. You just cast a spell through Reddit. And they say, why censor an idea when you can just discredit it? So what they'll do is that they'll cast a spell, they'll get all these bots to come in and downvote your idea, hit spam the dislike button, call you an idiot in the chat, and then all the bots will upvote each other. And it just makes you look like a stooge, and then your idea dies because you look like an idiot with all these people that disagree with you, even though the people that disagree with you aren't real. It's a good way to discredit somebody, right?
So much really powerful now.
Because after all, with our good friend Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition, the people I was getting in arguments with were fucking bot accounts.
Sounds like my Thursday afternoon.
Yeah.
Sounds like the Syndicate are after you.
That's what it is. It's that you're a left-winger NPC that you exist just to astroturf the product, and you don't have a single thought to rub between the brain cells that you don't have.
They rejected Christ because they hated his message.
Let's see, looking at what else we've got here, hyper-narrative influence. If you just say something enough times, eventually people will believe it's true. Like how, UK actor Graham Linehan is the devil. He hates gay people. He hates trans people. He's a terrible person because he wants to see them all die. And you just say that enough times to where people will believe it. And now that person can't get a job in the UK and had to leave his country and come to America to find work. Do something like that. And same thing where, hey, you got this journalist who's out here saying something he doesn't need to say. We'll just completely discredit and destroy his reputation through a spell. That's what we'll do. Let's see here. Kyle, who's a good example? Well, he's not a journalist, but he came to my mind anyway. Count Dankula?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The Syndicate looks at him and says, we don't think he's funny. Let's go ahead and destroy him.
And then, in doing so, they accidentally made him more powerful than you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
Clearly there was a paradox backlash.
It really was.
Now I know who I'm thinking of. Milo Yiannopoulos. That's who I'm thinking about.
I forgot that dude existed, and I'm sad that you made me remember that he existed.
Heard much about him recently.
Yeah.
He kind of just fell off the face of the earth.
He was a guy that used to be this massive entertainer that he had the whole world in the palm of his hand. And then he goes on the Drunken Peasants podcast and talks about how he was molested by the church and it turned him gay, and that he encourages other priests to molest their kids so he can have more boyfriends for him to date.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, the man said that without a hint of irony. Yeah. So,
what is wrong?
Probably why I haven't heard much about that guy.
Yeah, and now he's a snake who goes on a Tim Pool with plans to backstab him and poach his audience once he leaves West Virginia. And he's out.
To be fair, that was because he didn't check a law that was inserted a few weeks before he moved,
Yes.
and that was where they banned all forms of contracting.
That says that part. It's just him just melting down in the middle.
John, you literally cannot hire someone to mow your lawn. They have to have their own business, pay a fee to West Virginia,
Yeah.
and then have an actual corporated business, file taxes as businesses and all that jazz, just to mow someone's lawn.
Well, why couldn't he just live in a state that's not West Virginia? Imagine living in West Virginia.
I mean, most of my family did. At least my dad's side of the family did.
They're not there anymore, are they?
I mean,
it's not even the best Virginia.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. I don't mind West Virginia. They got pepperoni rolls.
And next up, you got the extraordinary devices. Let's see. Let's see just how extraordinary these devices are. Let's take a look at this.
It's an iPhone.
Let's see what's the first in this. The Midas card, the multi-investment derivative assignment swap. Let's see. Take a look at
What fucking syndicate financer decided, we're gonna make this ridiculous acronym just so we can make it after the Greek myth.
See, it is a card that will constantly recharge and will have amount of money on it that is equivalent to 1 point in resources.
Ah, yes, the infinite money glitch made manifest.
It will always have at least $20 on it.
That's funny.
That's what it is.
I could buy at least 10 bottles of Pepsi.
So what you're saying is you can just repeatedly go to the same store and buy $20 gift cards until you have enough to buy what you actually want.
And just keep doing the cash back on the option too until you empty out an entire register.
It's funny.
Yes.
Just go to 4 different Walmarts and all of a sudden you have $80.
It's what it is, yes. And this reminds me of the bonar fetish where it was the pants pocket you put a spirit inside of that will always have 6 coins in it. And this is a fetish that's for the most part useless in America because you can have $6 at the most. But in Europe, where your lowest coins up until you hit 5 pounds or 5 Czech koruna is a coin. No, not 5 koruna. What was it? I think it was 100. There was a 100 to a 200 koruna coin when I was in Czech. So it becomes more valuable depending on what country you're in. This is one of those cards this is one of those items that could change in value depending on what country you're in. Because
it just has coins though.
Yeah, it was just coins with the bonars, but with this, it's just a card. All right. You want to talk about the Mjolnir 5?
Sounds sexy.
It is a revolver that shoots shotgun shells.
Ooh,
that's kind of sick.
Yeah.
The Malorian arms. Yes.
You pull it out. It has, looks like 10 shells in the chamber. It's
But what gauge are the shells?
It's
are they like those puny rat shot ones?
.410.
Puny ones.
Yeah, teeny tiny, but that's still a shotgun. You put that to a vampire's head, it's going to kill them.
Yep.
And
second or third shot, but
still a bunch of rocks flying at the speed of sound.
And it deals 7 damage on contact. It's slug shot, so it's a range of 100 spaces. And it's easily concealable. The only issue is that it's single fire.
Then it's not a revolver, is it?
Yeah, you gotta pull back the hand. You gotta pull back the
single
hand
action. Okay, yeah.
The single action is what I meant. Yeah. And alternatively, if you're not a fan of that, you could get the Thomas 2, which is an automatic shotgun. It fires 3 shells every shot. It holds 60 shells in its magazine.
What the fuck?
And it's with a range of 300 spaces.
Is that just like an AA-12 with a fucking drum magazine?
A sniper shotgun. It's the shotgun that people were using when they hacked the servers of Modern Warfare 2.
Oh yeah, the Model 1887.
And that's it. And you just run around, you just fan the hammer, and then it instantly reloads, and you just get kills from people on the map that you didn't even see.
60 rounds, and it fires 3 shells with each trigger pull. What is it, like a
Yes.
triple barrel?
Well, no, it's just
you could
in
make
an
a triple
action
barrel.
when you pull in like one action when you pull the trigger, it's 3 times.
We can make it like the guns in Borderlands that have 3 barrels on them that all fire at the same time.
I mean, there are.
I feel like the magazine would be a quad stack drum. Or quad feed drum.
No,
That'll
Just
work.
put them in a triangle.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think Edin, what's going on is that like it's just when you roll when you roll to shoot in an action, it's 3 shells that come out of it. So like in the 6 seconds, it shoots 3 rounds in 6 seconds.
See, what was it? We get a shotgun in it, and it looks like this. It looks like, Kyle, we know how much you love Borderlands. It looks like this.
Yeah, the game with 11 billion guns.
That you say all fire the same, and yeah, they do it. You have to get like the legendary and the modded weapons.
Yeah, it's I've had this discussion before with Johnny. It's like when it comes to guns in games, I'd rather have like an arsenal that was like 10 guns, but all of them felt unique, like in Metal Arms, rather than 11 billion guns that all feel the same.
You rather play Bulletstorm.
Yeah. I've never actually played Bulletstorm, but it's on my to-do list.
I haven't played it.
Yeah, you are stuck with the assault rifle for a long portion of the game. But
Risk of Rain too.
And then we have the Heimdall 5 lead stopper, which is it's a snazzy little business suit where if you get shot with a bullet, it won't pierce you.
I feel like the Get Ephemeris are going to have a field day with all of the fucking names that Mjolnir's ripped off for their weapon designs.
You stole all this stuff from the Get Ephemeris. It's literally just a blazer jacket and slacks that stops bullets.
I mean, wait, doesn't the IAA have those?
Well, yeah, they do. Who do you think they got it from?
That's an excellent point.
See, you also have, was it the Eris Design Group Virtuous Executive Smartphone? Could you come up with more of a mouthful for these items?
No, because like if they have a weird fucking name, then it's less likely to cause paradox because people won't say them.
I would absolutely make them all have the same name.
And so what it is that it is a phone that will keep you calm in a situation where you might lose your mind. And with it, you can also like take pictures of it, and you can use it to manipulate the matter around you with the phone. It's essentially something that they stole from the virtual adepts. Like the smartphone that controls reality.
That sounds about right.
What it.
And then Riddlin, apparently.
Yeah. And then lastly, the Elite Business Attire, where what this does is that it is essentially Presence 5, the vampire discipline, but it's attached to a business suit.
That's kind of fucking sick.
Yeah. You come out.
That's not bad at all.
It is the drip that you come out. You're wearing this drip. You come out. You're the snazziest man. Everybody's eyes are on you. Everybody's suggestible to what you say. And it gives you 2 levels of armor while wearing it.
It's like the Obey puffer jacket.
It's what it is, yeah.
I know a venture who would love that jacket.
You want to get your hands on that, right, Ryan?
Timmy's got the new drip. He just comes in, lol. His zestiness! It's off the chain!
Get the massive bass boost on the song.
Oh, man.
And that's your spells. Was any of that magic?
No.
Yes,
no.
Asterisk.
Yes.
Yes,
only because a lot of that sounded like something that came from the book I'm reading.
It's something that you could just buy this in a store. This isn't magic. I have access to this.
Yeah. Granted, you're gonna have to buy it all with the GDP of a small African country, but it's still bought in a store.
And then you have the examples for characters in the back of the book where you have crowdfunding diva, where you're somebody that runs a Kickstarter page and you get people to donate to you. Or the God of Gamblers, where you just go to a casino a lot with a fake ID and a fake card and win a lot. Or the Mercenary, where you get paid to kill people. And that's
rip
magic.
off you Thanatos, basically.
Diet you Thanatos.
The microfinance mogul, which is what I think would come to your mind for the most part with the Syndicate Mage. Miss I, who is, if I'm reading this right, an influencer. No, social media master over here. And then the social networker who gets money off of what he posts on Facebook and Twitter. He's getting paid by Elon Musk to post right-wing propaganda is what he's doing.
So all the stuff that we see nowadays is in this book.
Yes.
That's kind of funny, actually.
What was kind of fantastical 10 years ago, this is commonplace now.
Yeah.
I kind of hate that, I'm not going to lie.
Which is why I didn't go over first edition for the most part. I went over second edition because it feels like the second edition's 20th edition stuff. Because none of the Mage books got rewrites back in Werewolf time. This is like Onyx Path who wrote this, but the guy who wrote this knew what he was talking about.
He did.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like this book needed to be updated, especially in regards to an entirely new economy that we're living in.
We live in the lamest fucking cyberpunk dystopia ever.
Yeah.
We don't even get our fucking cybernetic enhancements. I want my robot eyes.
Well, the Syndicate wants to sell it to you, but Iteration X doesn't want it put on the market yet.
I want my robot guts.
That's what it is. As soon as it hits the scene, if that shit that we see in Cyberpunk is Edge Runners was a thing, do you think anyone would be able to reasonably afford those modifications?
I wonder how much maple syrup I could drink if I had a cybernetic heart.
Yes.
No, what you want is a cybernetic liver.
You know what? You're so fucking right. I could drink so much beer.
Yeah. That is a thing in Cyberpunk, by the way.
Yeah, you could do that. You could there's a modification for everything.
Dude, I'm sitting here like fucking Hannibal Buress staring at his hands right now. That's fucking amazing.
I can't get drunk.
See, well, thank you for the call out, Edin.
See,
I'm not gonna. No.
You just so the liver would work normally. It would just be you wouldn't get the after effects or the side effects of too much drinking.
It's true, yeah. And,
like, if I could have something that had shortened my hangover, that'd be good. Because I was pretty hungover on Saturday, so.
See, you need something that heightens your hangover.
Why?
Punishment. Play the game on hard mode, baby.
No.
Yeah.
If you want to stop drinking.
If
cringe.
If you want your body functions to be better, then you're gonna have some sort of consequence.
There already is one. I don't want to make them worse.
Boost that up by 10.
No, I'm just gonna go out and have another beer. That's what's gonna happen.
All right. Took those pills dry. Kyle, you had a shout out you wanted to do at the end of the episode, right?
Yes. So I posted this in the server, but I've also shared it around on Twitter and a bunch of other places. One of my very good longtime friends, who is actually from Saudi Arabia, he and his cousin have actually filmed and produced the very first Arabic analog horror film. The movie itself is called, let me get it pulled up here so I can see it, Julaydah, and I'll even put a link to it in the description so you can go ahead and watch it. If you like analog horror, if you like something that builds a lot of atmosphere, if you're a fan of PS1 horror games, this is definitely a movie you'll want to check out. They did an absolute fantastic job with that, and, they'd be thrilled if you went and checked it out.
And there we have it. Zach, credits where it's due. He did a good job on it.
Yep, it is a very nice movie. So, anything else on the Syndicate?
Let's see, the Syndicate. So, Kyle, if you were to include these guys in the game, how would you do it?
I mean,
they're probably in the game already. We just don't know it yet.
In Appalachian, no, not really. There isn't much money to be made there. They the Syndicate, how they would be in Appalachia is well, fuck, the money's dried up there, and environmentalists have fucked over the oil and coal and natural gas in that area, so we can't really do anything there anymore. We send all the labor to China, so it's like everything's cheaper now. I guess we'll just let that go, because, like, who the fuck lives there? Let's go over to the. Let's go. What's up?
Want to where how they're reclaiming like mine sites to grow like crops that don't really absorb all the toxic pollutants in the soil, like lavender that they extract the oil from?
There's no money to be made in that. We're gonna go to Silicon Valley instead and see what those Iteration X nerds are up to.
See, Ryan, what about you? Nope.
What?
I have no ideas.
And
I'm not 100% sure how to use them. Then again, I'm not very much a storyteller. I'm more of
a player.
Actual
next tour.
Player DM.
You'll be the next project.
Yeah. No.
Let's see. You can do it. It's just a confidence issue. Don't worry about it.
Trust me. If it's any consolation, Ryan, I still have no idea what the fuck I'm doing.
You're doing well. You're doing well.
Okay.
Storyteller, I know you run Mage, so how have you used these guys before?
Honestly, I have never run a Mage game, sadly. My friends wanted to do Werewolf because they thought werewolves kick ass. However...
right.
Yeah. But would you use these guys in a game?
Oh, absolutely. One of my friends is playing a Glasswalker Arun. His name is Alexander Forrester.
Mm-hmm.
Dude has 5 resources. I would imagine some of the Syndicate would see this guy, see him as a potential financial threat, probably want to use him, take all his shit, and probably use the money for something, I don't know, maybe some startup company trying to take him out.
Maybe.
As for me, I have a sneaking suspicion as to where I'm going to put him out of Changeling game. Where I've got a guy I can use, and Storyteller gave him the name today, where we're going with Frank Wilkins.
Oh, that reminds me. In the other Supernaturals, how you guys said they don't acknowledge demons existing?
Mm-hmm.
Technically, they wouldn't acknowledge changelings either, because the changelings immediately get max penalty just from being a technocracy agent.
Yeah. Behold, tax returns. They all just fall over dead except for the Boggins. Your little tax returns won't work on me, sonny. I do that shit for fun.
See, I'm going to discuss with you this what you can get with this mortgage. Now, if you're going to take this mortgage option, you'll eventually make easy payments during this time. For the first 3 years, you'll be paying this much, but on the 4th year, your payment will become this much. Oh, you died in the middle of the explanation. I haven't even gotten to this yet.
Yeah, basically.
And there we have it. That's our episode on the Changelings. Changelings. Syndicate. I got to change it on the brain now. I got to change it on the brain now. We're talking about Project Twilight next episode. We're the conspiracy theory episode.
Yep.
What the hell is that?
We will find out next weekend.
A guy that worked for the government whose mind broke after he found out that the masquerade existed.
Oh no. Sounds like fun.
I think this is my favorite villain faction so far.
So far, like more so than the BSDs and the Bali.
You know, the Black Spirals are cool because they're evil werewolves and shit, and they're all grotesque and fucked up. But like, the Syndicate's the one that really like makes me think about like who is the bad guy in the World of Darkness.
Yeah,
like these guys are, but they're not. But they are, but they're not. They're really flip floppy, and that makes it really interesting to kind of dig into. Like, okay, who are these guys? What are they doing? How bad is that end goal? And can that end goal be turned into something that's less shitty?
See, probably.
Yeah. How do I make this less of a crapsack world?
All right.
You go help the changelings. They're the ones who's doing that.
You know what? Yeah, that's an excellent idea. I'm gonna go keep playing music, smoking weed, drinking fuckloads of beer, and writing music so that the changelings have some glamour to work off of.
Yeah. All right, there we go. That's the episode for today, everybody.
Yeah, thank you very much for watching. Have a good night.
Yeah, have a good night.
All right, GN.